Welcome to SicEm365 Radio.
Jenkins right now, 24 carries, 224 yards. First and 10. Lindell Eagle snap back to Peterson. Peterson hands off Jenkins, breaks a tackle. 5, reaching to the 5, touchdown! Jordan Jenkins taking it in from 16 yards out. Lindell Eagle's an extra point away from tying this with 4:40 to go.
SicEm365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
With Powell in front of him, gate to right side, he will score! Touchdown, Conley! Huge hole off the right side, and Kavion almost basically untouched.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
Peterson hands off to Jenkins. Jenkins right up the middle. Breaks free. Midfield 40. Up to the races. Turns around. Breaks the tackle at the 35. Touchdown. You got to be kidding me. Jenkins just shoved McCutcheon aside and took it 25 yards further for pay dirt. How about that?
Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
It is deja vu all over again for three of the young men in this building, in this studio on the corner of Elm and MLK. Jack and Armstrong ran the mothership for the first ever, the maiden voyage of a National Signing Day show. Brian Etheridge, Grayson Grunhafer, everybody on board. Craig Smoak also right here in studio as Baylor signed everybody they were supposed to sign and then got the commitment from a grad transfer from an Ivy League school, young man that played at Argyle High School. We'll get into that in just a minute. Paul Catalina, David Smoak, Craig Smoak. Number to call, 254-339-1122. That's also the text number. Your thoughts overall on the commitment list. We're going to look at what the national looks like. Yes, those who are usually, kind of fat and happy, they're even fatter and happier now because of National Signing Day. Craig Smoak, you were here this morning. You watched everything come in. We'll hear from Kyron Drones, probably the top-rated recruit that Baylor signed today. Among many, there's 3 or 4 four-star players, the quarterback out of Shadow Creek. That will be in a moment. Mack Rhodes today at 4:20. Last night they released a statement about the 2 days in front of the NCAA on infractions. His thoughts, he can't say much, but we'll try to get him to say a little bit as well. Dave Aranda is about to start a press conference. We'll have that for you from the entirety at about 5 o'clock today. King McClure, as we also have local players who committed and signed today. Craig, your overall view, you were here throughout the morning on Baylor's class of 2021.
Yeah, it was kind of weird how long it took in between the signees for them to kind of come in. Usually that is something where you just kind of rapid fire, and it kind of took a little while to get going. Eventually they got like a cluster of 4, and then a half hour later another cluster of 4. And, by the time that we signed off, after about 3 hours, they had, I think, 4 or 5 guys that hadn't officially signed yet, but the majority of their class, and I've seen this afternoon where everybody else has signed, I think, at this point. Elijah Bean just signed like an hour ago. He was the one guy that we knew or that we didn't know like what his schedule was. The other 3, we knew that they were going to be signing. We just didn't know. It was just a matter of they were signing after we were done. So Elijah Bean now in the fold. Seems like the whole class is set now, and they had the surprise addition of an Ivy League transfer wide receiver in Drew Estrada. So that was a nice little cherry on top of the 17 players that they're signing, that they signed today. So everybody's in the fold, plus one more, and it'll be interesting to see, who all out of this class ends up contributing early on.
That list that we have that is the list of attrition, which we've kept up with really since on Friday with Brewer and then Lovett, and then there's been a Newman who said he's coming back. I have been told that Raleigh Tejada was probably out the door. And now that door has closed and perhaps back in the room. Stay tuned for that with Raleigh Tejada. He did not have a good game against Oklahoma State. We know he struggled. Sometimes it looked like he was the one in coverage. A couple of times it was not, but he didn't have a good game against Oklahoma State. But if they can retain Raleigh Tejada, bring back Terrell Bernard, and then add to whatever they have with the youngins, that's like a recruiting victory. That's like bringing a blue chip back into your roster who's there, but you thought was going to be someone you have to replace.
Well, and this year there's going to be more than 85 scholarship players on every roster because of the 0 year or whatever you want to call it this year. So you're going to have a lot of players. You're going to have some room to bring some people back. And certainly so far the attrition is less than I thought it was with just Charlie Brewer and John Lovett. And I'm just going to go ahead and assume William Bradley King. But outside of that, I mean, if Tejada comes back and then Bernard comes back, which, again, given his injury, you would think is a strong possibility, man, that's a lot of depth you've got coming back that you can build on in what's hopefully going to be a more normal year in 2021.
So that would be and that's one of the things when I asked Dave Aranda this a couple of weeks ago, and I said, do you have to not only worry about signing up your class on December the 16th, but also recruiting players on your roster? He said recruiting might not be the right word, but trying to sit down with them. And if he feels like they should go. If they feel like some guys need to go to the next level, have that opportunity, go do that as well. But Raleigh Tejada was a name in which we thought pretty much might be out the door. And maybe that Dave Aranda is putting on a full court press to keep the senior cornerback who was very good, among the top 5 players, if not better, on the Baylor roster in 2020. That would be a big-time recruiting win to keep him. Now, again, I'm not saying he can't change his mind again because he was out the door, it seemed like, on Monday. But I'm being told now that that's something that Coach Aranda, full court press on Raleigh Tejada. And so that's good news as well. Nationally, all right, without even knowing, Paul, you have the list, right? Now, I have the list, top 5. Let's see, Alabama. I'm not going to give them in order. Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson, Georgia, and OU's probably top 10. Who am I missing?
They play in Ohio.
I said Ohio State.
You did?
I did not say Ohio State. Yeah, I said Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, and Georgia. Who am I missing?
The fifth one is a bit of a surprise, given its fifth, is Oregon.
Oregon, okay. Yeah. Oregon at 5. Oklahoma got a big-time commitment today on signing day from Savion Byrd, defensive lineman at Duncanville. So they're going to have a top 10 class. Texas will end up with a top 20 class. They could go 2-10. Or this year they could go 3-6. Doesn't matter. It's clockwork. They're going to get the talent. It's just a matter, is it a fit, and do they know what to do with it? They did get the Sanders kid from Denton Ryan, who is a beast. We'll see what happens and how they use him. Baylor probably in the 40 range. TCU made a nice little run. There was a kid that Baylor and TCU were both kind of waiting on. TCU got him. But in the end, you get your signings. Now what can you do with them? A different fit for a different coaching staff. And then you also move on to now the grad transfers. I don't think there was any signing day drama. I didn't hear any of that today. I think maybe the early signing period perhaps allows less of that, like when you had to everybody push and wait until that first Wednesday in February.
I mean, there's still a lot of surprises. There were guys flipping from one school to another. Deion Sanders landed the number 1 JUCO cornerback in the country to, where's he at?
Jackson State.
Yeah, Jackson State. So, I mean, that's not normal or typical in any way. And there's been a bunch of like, hey, he flipped from LSU to this school, or he flipped from this school to this school. And, you know, that's just typical. Guys do that. And, I mean, outside of that, it's all been pretty – I mean, even including that, it's all been pretty much normal. I haven't seen anything that's just like a shockwave of like, oh, my gosh, I can't believe that happened. But there have been a few different things here and there, just nothing really involved in Baylor. They kind of knew with the guys that were out there on the line today that, you know, based on what Colton Grayson were saying, you know, it was kind of a long shot to begin with. But, you know, they were in the mix. But at the end of the day, they got their 17 guys, and they got a grad transfer receiver, and – so they have, you know, 18 new players to welcome into the fold next year. And
now you also then try to keep a few that might have been leaving in your own building. And one of those, not just those that might have been, I think I'm going to go look somewhere else. As of right now, 4 days after getting torched by Oklahoma State, 4 days after going 2-7, right now you've lost Charlie Brewer and John Lovett.
And Yusuf Terry.
And Yusuf Terry, of course, who left earlier. And who else?
Davis Duvall right before the season, or right when the season was starting, or right before the season was starting. He's going to Arizona now, but he wasn't, you know, a part of the team this year. But then, yeah, Yusuf Terry at the end, and then the two since the last weekend wrapped up. But I think that's about. Or then Logan Compton's another one. So, yeah, there's like 5 guys right there that were members of your roster right before the season started. 1 left, and 4 others have left since then. So that frees up a little bit of room, but you know, that's not necessarily something they're going to go and try to apply and fit in everybody they can fit in for the next signing day and just go grab a bunch of high school kids. I think they're going to be smart about the transfer portal because, you know, for every John Lovett or Charlie Brewer that you lose, other teams are losing those guys too, especially this offseason. So you want to have some room to really, you know, be selective if you can and not just use them to use them.
Estrada's a nice pickup. He kind of reminds me of someone that you can get in the slot, whatever. Again, we got to figure out what they're going to do with the offense. Do they have the ability to run the slot receiver like they would a Julian Edelman or someone who has been a slot receiver successfully, Wes Welker type? I don't know. He's a heck of an athlete. We saw him, Argyle, in the state championship, lost to La Vega in 2015. All right, Kyron Drones, Devin Lemire, got a note or two about him. Kavion Gaither, Demarion Alexander, Jackie Marshall from Louisiana, first person in his family that's going to go to college. Had a chance to visit with him. King McClure in studio on Baylor basketball. Mac Rhodes, Kevin Hoffman from Mart, Dave Aranda, and Jordan Jenkins. All of those and more will join us today on SicEm365. Do we break here, come back with Kyron, Paul?
Yeah, comes right
All right,
up, yeah.
When we come back, Shadow Creek quarterback. He's the number 1 player perhaps in the class for Baylor. Kyron Drones, the defending champion for the Sharks, next on SicEm365 Radio.
At Baylor University, students find their place to shine. They're faithful friends and inspirational leaders. They're championship teammates and independent thinkers. They're on the cutting edge of high tech and in the halls of history. If you want to make the world a brighter place, you can. And if you want to shine in your own way, you can. The spark you need is already inside you. Bring it to Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Waco Custom Marketplace is your home for holiday favorites for parties and the time with family. Various specials available in-store and online. A variety of steak gift boxes with 4 ribeyes for $70, 4 bacon wrap fillets for $55, or 4 New York strips for $50, and all come with steak butter. Fall snack box for watching a game or wrapping presents or hosting people at your house, including summer sausage, split horn, and jalapeno cheese, and salted crackers for only $35. 2 pieces of lobster tails with herb butter and 2 bacon wrap fillets for $60. Order online or call in advance to ensure availability, or drop by Waco Custom Marketplace at 425 Lake Air Drive. Waco Custom Marketplace has a full-service butcher shop for customized orders or cuts of your favorite steaks or beef tenderloin or specially ordered prime rib roast. Plus, what you want with pork, poultry, seafood, and more. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
In Texas, there's pea-size hail and baseball-size hail. Guess which one hit our house? We didn't even know where to begin, but we called our Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent, and he was so reassuring. He knew exactly what to do to get our house back into shape and our lives back to normal. Now, we're even more thankful for the roof over our heads.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Let's face it, some people just like driving around in the nude. Hi, Jay here from Pickup Outfitters to talk about those truck owners that know they have naked trucks but simply don't care. You'll hear them saying something like, I'm just driving around free and easy, nothing constricting me. Gross. But there is something that can entice almost any naked truck owner. Leather. I mean, they kind of go together, right? And Pickup Outfitters is an authorized dealer and professional installer of cat skin leather seats. So I'm asking you to do your part and help us end truck nudity. The next time you're near your naked truck owner friend, you can say something like, you know what would really be sexy on your truck? Leather. And they'll get that sly smile, and you know you've hit them in their weak spot. Pickup Outfitters installs factory-matching leather kits or custom kits in just about any color combination for your truck or even car. It's the sexy thing to do. You can be part of the problem, or you can create a commotion with cat skin leather seats at Pickup Outfitters. 220 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
With your Ram truck from Allen Samuels, you may not have to plow through snow and mud or pull heavy loads, but you could. During the Big Finish year-end event, you get a Ram deal like no other. Employee pricing for all, 0% for 84, and no payments for 90 days. Ram 1500 Lone Star for Christmas. No other truck comes close. And ask about Big Finish pricing on Ram Heavy Duty and Ram ProMaster for your business. Happy holidays from Allen Samuels.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
The SicEm365 Radio Live Guest VIP Hotline is sponsored by Stonewood Dental. We are all in this together.
Kyron Drones. Man, we've known about him for a long time. Shadow Creek quarterback with us, state champion last year, in the playoffs again this year on SicEm365 Radio. What will signing with Baylor after all of the last few months and all of this year, and you were committed to them a long time ago, what will it mean to you?
It's just a dream come true to me that it's finally official that I'm going to a D1 program, a big D1 program that I love, that I feel most comfortable with, and then that we just going to make stuff happen at Baylor.
How much have you paid attention to what they've been able to do? I know you know Cameron Bonner from St. Thomas in Houston, of course, Monterey at Killeen at Shoemaker High School. How much have you paid attention to them being able to add some receivers into this class after a few of them left?
It was a really good thing for me because I was getting kind of worried about like why everybody leaving, who I'm going to throw to and all this and stuff. And then they told me receivers they were looking at, told me to talk to them, told me to help them get them commit. And then when they finally did, it was just a big moment for us that we can still get receivers at this late in time and just keep doing what we're doing.
You're in the playoffs. You were expected to be in the playoffs. It's different this year because this would normally be state championship week, which a year ago you were able to win it all, and the great moment that was. But now you're only in round number 2. So what's it like with signing day and the playoffs kind of mixing together?
It's good, like finally getting it over with, finally focus on football, just win it state with my team just before practice. So therefore, I won't have stuff on my mind after practice.
You've stayed loyal to Baylor from start to finish. I had Jackie Marshall and spoke with him as well, the young man, the linebacker out of Louisiana, and he was talking about once he made a commit, doesn't matter, that's what he's going to do. I know your father and your parents and your family are very strong, but you've been able to stay committed. It's not like people didn't want you. A lot of people did. How have you been able to do that?
Just knowing where I feel most comfortable at, knowing where my gut and heart, knowing what they felt, and just knowing where I'm wanted. Like Baylor, they gave me the most love since they first started talking to me. They believed in me the most, and I believe in them, and I feel like they're going to push me to where I need to be.
Did Charlie Brewer leaving, did that kind of show up on your radar? He decided he was going to leave Baylor?
Yeah, I didn't think he was going to leave. I figured he was going to stay for another year since this year didn't count. But so I thought I was like probably just going to go in and I was thinking about redshirting for my freshman year, but now I'm going in trying to compete for the job.
Yeah, there's still a quarterback room that's full. There's no question about it. It's going to be very talented. And what are the expectations, Kyron?
I head up there January 17th. Today was my last day of high school. So I'm just ready to get up there and start competing and trying to win a job.
Baylor struggled this year. You know that. And they had injuries, and they had COVID, and they had some things that just didn't go well. Did that ever bother you at all, or is that no matter how well they were playing or not, that you were focused in on making sure that in December you signed with Baylor?
It didn't matter to me. I know what everybody's dealing with right now. It's like it's out of their control, so they really can't control injuries. They can't control COVID. Like everybody's doing their best to try to prevent it and stay away from it, but it's really hard to control where it is and how you get it. So I already knew this year was going to be a struggle dealing with new coaches, not being able to play spring ball. So therefore, I knew I was going to stick with Baylor.
That's a very mature way to look at it. You know, that really is. That says quite a bit about you. We've talked to you before. It's not been an easy year for you either. You had to deal with an injury early in the year. You had that game with North Shore. You know, it's been kind of a struggle as well. What have you learned about yourself this year?
It's just that I'm more of a leader than I thought I was. Like last year, I was a leader, but by example, this year I'm being more vocal with my team. And just getting the team ready, pushing them to be our best to where we can go try to win another ring. I know when I got injured, people started doubting us for real. They didn't know when I was going to come back. And then we got COVID. And then we had to take 2 weeks off, and then I was back from that. So I just been trying to get rolling ever since then. And then we're finally back rolling. Now you see we had a dominated win last week, first-round playoffs, and we're trying to get back to it this Friday.
All right, so let's picture this. The scholarship, the national letter of intent from Baylor's right there in front of you. You sign it. What goes through your mind for Kyron Drones?
It's that I'm officially a Baylor Bear and I can't get ready to work. Me and my family, we talked about this ever since I was little, going to a D1 program. Baylor's been like a dream school of mine since I was little too, so for me to finally make that happen is just a big moment for me and my family.
Thank you. Congratulations, Kyron. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
So now in the quarterback room that we know of, based on as of right now, when Kyron Drones comes on campus late mid-January, you have Jacob Zeno, you have, at least for now, Gary Bohannon, Blake Shapen, and now Kyron Drones. And then there's always the possibility, who knows, maybe there's a grad transfer or maybe there's a transfer. I don't know about that, but that's who the quarterback room is. When they get to mid-January, yes, there's speculation about what might happen what Gary Bohannon might do. He's got family in Arkansas. People have family in different places, but he's got a daughter, and who knows if he needs to get back closer to her. That has been up for speculation before. Craig Smoak, Paul Catalina, David Smoak. This is National Signing Day, the afternoon edition, after a brilliant start to our morning at 7 o'clock earlier today with full throttle coverage of the players who committed, signed, and also the addition of Drew Estada. I did see that JD sent you guys a group text in our group text about how he thought Estrada was a dog. And they played against each other when JD was at Cornell. And we remember what Drew Estada did when he was a wide receiver at Argyle, so that's a nice addition there as well. We're going to hear from Devin Lemire. They have numerous athletes. Craig, how many wide receiver, at least that's what they have played, and maybe that's what they'll play at Baylor? Did I hear what you guys say there were 5 or 6 of those?
Yeah, there's 5 wide receivers. They signed 4 high school players today with Elijah Bean and have to pull the list back up.
Monterey Baldwin.
Yeah, Monterey Baldwin, Elijah Bean, Cameron Bonner, Javon Gibson, and then Estrada being added to the group as well as the grad transfer. So, yeah, 5 new wide receivers in the fold as of today.
So that's where they are, and one of them, Devin Lemire, will join us here momentarily. A couple of interesting notes about him. Give an update, Armstrong. The Lady Bears, of course, are playing right now at the Farrell Center. You expect this to, I'm going to guess, 67-29.
Close, 62-34. Southern's
They're
making a push. They're
underperforming, Paul.
they're making a push.
All right, a couple of other local notes. I had a conversation. Don Hyde is on his way up to Arlington along with coaches. Shane Anderson had a conversation with him. Paul had a chance to speak with Kavion Gaither as they had players signed. La Vega had 5 players signed today. The probably largest of the schools, Abilene Christian, Jarquay Walton, the running back, signed with Abilene Christian. But they have 21 players overall who have offers. And some, let's not forget, this is the early national signing period. There will be more that sign when they get to the month of February. Let's see here. A&M, the highest of all the Texas schools. They finished, depends on which ranking you look at, but it looks like kind of like the college football playoff. They're at number 6. Although the college football playoff, they are, at least right now, into the championship weekend at number 5. Raleigh Tejada, that's interesting news. Craig's monitoring a little bit of Dave Aranda as he's talking about the class. Anything in particular that you've heard that is worth passing along?
I've been able to listen to like one answer. The one answer I heard, I guess, was interesting. He said that there's going to be, obviously an open quarterback competition, which – of course there should be. I mean, nobody's a starter right now with Charlie Brewer gone, so he just said that he's looking forward to, an open quarterback competition in the spring, and he likes the guys they have in the room. I guess it was a question about, whether or not they'd bring in a grad transfer or JC. I just see that would muddy the waters. Like, why would I just feel like you bring in an older guy, you're just, okay, Jacob Zeno, you got to wait again. Yeah. Or you're making an older guy wait. That makes no sense to me. So, I mean, I get why you would maybe want to do that, but when you got 4 young guys, why would you bring in an old guy to potentially stand in their way still? Like, it'd be one thing if Jacob Zeno hadn't been sitting all year or Gary Bohannon hadn't been sitting for like the last 2-3 years, but given that they have, I just think, pulling an Anu Solomon or something like that, this is not the time to do that. That was the time to do that when you had like no quarterbacks except for a true freshman and Charlie Brewer. And who was the other quarterback that year? I don't even remember. It was Anu Solomon, Charlie Brewer, and Zach Smith was here.
Smith,
I mean, so then when he transferred, then Anu was gone, and so you had to get McClendon just because otherwise you only had Charlie Brewer. But in this situation, you got 4 young guys. There's not really that need there, in my opinion.
And they are, if you look, Zeno, Bohannon, Drones, and Chapin are all guys that were rated very well. Drones is a 4-star guy that led Shadow Creek. I think Shadow Creek's got a game this week, and then they would face Katy perhaps in the next round. I did talk with him. You just heard Kyron Drones. I thought it was great. I was going to interview him last night. I sent him a text when his father told me to send him. He goes, I'm out to have dinner, and I was great. I left him alone. I said, just text me when you're done. It was about an hour or so later. He graduated. He basically had his last day of school yesterday. So you have your last day of school. You're in the playoffs in 6A, and it's National Signing Day all in the same week. All in the same week. Number to call, 254-339-1122. I'll check the texts in a little bit. I got to apologize for anyone who texted us yesterday. We had an issue. I did. And so I don't know if we ever got to all of them. That's my fault. It's my computer, perhaps whatever. But we want to hear from you today, your thoughts about National Signing Day and what Craig just said. Open competition at quarterback, which is great news. Paul.
Baylor Bigfoot, you're on the Impact Health Labs caller line for your mass screening for COVID-19. Call Impact Health Labs or go to impacthealthlabs.com. Just got to slip that in there for our sponsor.
No, that's
just
great.
One time.
It's great.
But Baylor Bigfoot, you're on. Proceed, sir.
Hello. Hey, I'm going to give it to my buddy. Hey, Baylor Woolly Man, come here.
Hey guys, this is Baylor Woolly Mammoth. My Twitter account is at BUWoolly, and I just wanted to call in and say that Baylor Bigfoot is my hero, and I think the world ought to be a little nicer to him. I know him personally, but truly believe there are people out there to get him. Can you guys please discuss his haters and homies lists? Thank you for your show. I look forward to calling in again in the future.
Okay, thanks for the call. Thanks for the call. This is National Signing Day. We love you. We love all of you. I know there gets to be a little bit of a turf war among Baylor fans on who likes who and all that other stuff. We do. I don't care about who your haters are. Forget them. I need to learn that myself. It's National Signing Day, and we need to discuss a little bit more about that along with the interviews that we have. We love your passion. We hope to hear from you yet again. Daniel, by the way, and I agree with you. He goes, I don't like the National Signing Day rankings. Tell me how 2015 or 16's class did. Things happen, injuries, attrition, discipline issues, or players just aren't as good as we thought. I'd like to see prior classes re-ranked to see how they actually did. And on occasion, you'll see that, where people look back at 5 years ago or 4 years ago and kind of see Baylor is never going to be most likely a team that's in the top 10 when it comes to recruiting. The Art Briles 2016 class was close to that. And that got destroyed, of course, after Pepper Hamilton and Art Briles leaving. That one got plucked away, mainly from those in the South, among a couple of other schools. But the national rankings, if you do look at who they are, though, right? Clemson, Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State.
It's college football playoff teams. Let's just call it like it is. It's the same 8 teams, same 4 teams, same 12 teams that we talk about all the time. That's why there's articles being written this week over, just how kind of ridiculous it is, this whole playoff thing when you really look at it, and how it is just another country club for the country club schools. I mean, if you are a non-Power 5, you have zero chance unless you're, I'm trying to think of somebody, an independent like Notre Dame. That's your only chance, and really that's exclusive only to Notre Dame. We see BYU's not getting really a whole lot of love, and the armed forces schools aren't going to ever get any love, even if they were to have some great team. They have no shot. I mean, if you're not in the Power 5, you have no shot unless you're named Notre Dame. No shot.
No, you're right. And Pat Forty, if you could go look at a column he wrote last night about the college football playoff, it's one of the best I've ever seen about college football in general. But you're right. You have no shot.
Yeah, so I don't even know what I was saying there. What was the question again? Oh, the comparing of recruiting classes. So I don't know. I kind of lost my train of thought there. Sorry.
Bohannon, Elite 11. Zeno, Elite 11. Drones, Elite 11. I'd be shocked if all of them stay. Could be very well Bohannon transferring, Zeno running the show with Shapen as the backup until Drone's time is to shine. One more call. We got to get to Devin Lemire because he's got things to do.
Yeah, Matt in D.C., you're on the Impact Health Labs caller line on SicEm365 Radio.
Thanks for taking my call. Y'all guys are right about the playoff. I mean, just for Baylor to get in, we got to go undefeated or we have one loss or something happen. But anyway, you got to be part of the blue blood, so hopefully they expand it. But on the signing class, looks like we got everybody we wanted. One thing I noticed, looks like we're recruiting from, championship level high school programs. And one thing about getting those guys, we may not get the 5 or 4-star guys, but if we get some 3 stars from championship level programs and they've been winning state titles, they're going to bring those habits in to the program and they're not going to tolerate losing. I remember we kind of had the same thing back in the Briles recruiting where we get maybe a 4 or 5 here, but we got a lot of 3 stars from championship programs. And same with being up here in D.C. on the Talk of the Radio last year. They call them the Alabama gang, all the Alabama players that play for the Skins. There's a rumor coming out of the locker room after the Skins would lose, the Alabama guys will be the only one pissed off because when you grow up only winning, you ain't going to tolerate losing. So let's just keep recruiting from those state championship level programs, and the winning habits are going to continue. So go ahead. Have a good day.
Matt, thanks for your call. We appreciate it very much. 254-339-1122. TJ, I don't think any quarterback Aranda had in that quarterback room is his guy. I think the guy that's coming in might be his guy. I'm pretty excited about opening up the competition for the quarterback position. Devin Lemire, we'll get him, Paul, please, from Maynard. He'll join us in this segment as well. Also, we'll hear from some of the local guys, including Kavion Gaither at Conley and more. In fact, 4 o'clock, we'll hear from Jackie Marshall. King McClure in studio, former Baylor guard, will join us on a weekly basis to discuss Baylor men's basketball. Mac Rhodes at 4:20, and so all of that coming up as well.
Can you send me that number? I don't think you ever did.
Well, going back to Matt's phone call about the championship programs, yeah, there is a good few examples of that. I mean, you look at Tyrone Brown out of West Orange. I will say, though, on the other side, Cisco Caston comes from a terrible program in Weatherford. That was something that Grayson really drilled home earlier today. But for the most part, yeah, you're right. There are programs that are in the playoffs or are currently in the playoffs or who had, good seasons overall. So, yeah, I mean, guys that want to win, it's always good to have DeSoto, Duncanville, those types of guys. They don't have either in this class, but they do have guys from programs like Shadow Creek or Denton Guyer. So, I think that's going to help with that mentality, Matt. So that was an interesting observation.
One of the things the Cowboys have done with some of their drafts, they're going with the big boy Power 5 schools. Yes, they still pluck away somebody from Boise State, whatever, but they go after those big schools. It seems to work out. Not always. And the same thing, if you get enough of them in your college football recruiting class, things go well. One of them, Devin Lemire from Maynard, joins us now on SicEm365 Radio. It's been a long day for you, Devin. Now that you're kind of almost on the home stretch of the day, what's today been like for you? How much fun has it been?
It's been a lot of fun. It's just been real crazy, kind of just celebrating, everything that's led up to this point. And, it's all kind of coming to an end, and now it's just time to work, really.
Devin, how did you feel this was a long and arduous process? How do you feel that was it quick? Did you get impatient? What were your emotions throughout the last couple of years when it came to recruiting?
Well, I feel like it was a pretty long process. I wasn't the biggest fan of it. I kind of just wanted to find coach staff that I was most comfortable with and, really just find home as fast as I could. And thankfully I was able to do that. And I'm really happy with my decision. But yeah, I mean, I was never really a big fan of, recruiting process. I always just wanted to stay focused on the grind rather than, getting in too much of the politics of recruiting.
So you weren't trying to go on a bunch of visits and make a bunch of commits and do all that. You were very much kind of just very chill. Who were those Baylor coaches that, and obviously visits are off the table for all players this year, but you don't seem to want the spotlight in that way, like you said. Who are some of the coaches from Baylor that originally reached out to you, and who'd you form those bonds with?
I say definitely Coach Palish, Coach Nance, Coach Hales, Coach Aranda, of course. I mean, those are the main guys, Coach Bell as well. So, I mean, those are the main coaches that recruited me. I mean, I talked to every coach, though, really, every single one. But those are the primary, those are the main ones.
Yeah, I heard you say this to Grayson earlier today because I listened to part of what that was with him. And you feel like that there's a chance that you can pretty much be flexible because of your athleticism, your skill set, and your speed and even strength, that you feel like you could play whatever defensive back position they want you to. Is that what you've also communicated, or vice versa with the staff?
Yes, sir. I mean, that's what the staff has communicated with me too. Just being real flexible in defense with different packages. Just being a threat on the field at all times. Bring me on blitzes, cover, one-on-one, play high safety. Whatever we need to do to win. Yeah, I mean, that's been a huge recruiting point of theirs actually, and that's what I really loved about Coach Aranda and how he recruited me.
What were your thoughts, and did you get to see a lot of the graphics of what Baylor Athletics put up with those who signed today with Baylor? There's one with a rattlesnake in the background. I'll get to that in a minute, but also the one with you kneeling, all the glory. Did you get a chance to see some of those?
Yeah, I saw all of them. I went every 15 minutes. I'd go on the Baylor page just kind of see who they put up, and everybody. I would read the little fun facts that everybody had. It was kind of cool, just to kind of see what everybody's like. But yeah, I think they're really nice and neat. And I like how they threw a little snake in onto mine, so that's cool too.
Well, I got to bring that up because your father told me Who's going to babysit the Snakes when you're in college?
We still trying to decide that, but I think I'm gonna have to probably give them to my cousins, one of my cousins, but not a lot of people like snakes, so we're gonna have to see.
So how many snakes we're talking about?
Well, at one point I had 4, but right now I only have 2. I have 2 corn snakes.
Okay, Smokey, how many snakes is too many snakes?
2.
1.
2. Right. Yeah, 1. 1 is too many. Both of them, leave those in Manor. All right, please. I don't need to have nightmares, but that's such a cool thing. Your dad said he's going to have to make that decision because he and his mom and dad aren't going to be the ones taking care of him. So that's a hilarious story about Devin Lemire. Craig?
Devin, with the lack of visits and things like that, I know that kind of interrupts maybe some of that time you would have with fellow commits, on campus during a weekend. Have you been able to still get to know guys? Were there guys that are part of this class that you already knew? How's that kind of worked in getting to know some of your future teammates?
I wouldn't say we got to know any of the recruits personally on a personal level, but I've definitely talked to the guys a couple times. Cisco, I've talked to Javon, I've talked to Jordan, but definitely missing out on visits definitely kind of affected that. But once we get on campus, it's going to be all love from there. We're going to build a strong bond from there, and I'm just excited to get to know the guys.
Do you feel like there's even a stronger bond because of what you've had to deal with? You haven't had the visits, as Craig mentioned, and that might bring this thing and this class even closer together? You feel that yet? Any examples?
That could be a thing. We could see. I'm not sure how that's going to play out, but I think 2020 in general kind of brought the world together as a whole. Just kind of going through all the lessons and all the bad things that's happened in 2020.
So, Devin, watching Baylor this year, obviously they had, some struggles. Offensively, they could never really just get it going. But what did you think watching that defense throughout the season?
I was impressed with the defense because, a lot of the times when you come across an offense that's pretty stagnant throughout the season, the defense tends to look bad just because they're on the field a lot or, the momentum of the game. But to see Baylor defense still put up the numbers, the interception turnovers, the amount of points they allowed, that was impressive to me.
What's impressive to me is that you are a part of that early college program. Tell everyone the certification you received already from Austin Community College. What's that about?
So I'm graduated with my associate's degree, but I just got my level 1 certificate for engineering. So I also just got that, yeah.
So what does that mean you can engineer at level 1? What could
to be honest, I don't really know. I don't think you can really do too much right now, but I just wanted to do it just to try something new, and it was pretty fun.
Yeah, earned his level 1 certification engineering program at Austin Community College as a part of the early college program. So you already have your Associate of Arts degree. That's amazing. Congratulations, Devin. Tell your parents we appreciate the access, and also keep those corn snakes in Manor. We appreciate that very much, but bring all your talent to go play football at Baylor, okay?
Yes, sir. I got you. Thank you.
All right, that's Devin Lemire. Devin Lemire joins us on SicEm365 Radio. No question. And I'm telling you right now, I put up a note, and we'll talk to Mac Rhodes about this. Austin Thomas put this note up as well. They have some Patrick Clancy, Jordan Burgess, and Addison Skaggs who are in their graphics department, BU Creative. They are phenomenal. Remember last year they knocked out
the puppets.
But this year they had these covers, these magazines, all of this stuff that was on and on and on, constantly being churned out. They all did an incredible job of promoting what Baylor football did with these young men and signing the class of 2021. When we come back, there's others, local players, and they're going elsewhere, including Kavion Gaither, one of the best overall players in Central Texas. Demarion Alexander from China Springs signed with KU, among others. King McClure in studio along with Mac Rhodes. He'll join us by phone around 4:20. And then another Baylor commit and signee, Jackie Marshall, the first person in his family that will attend college out of Louisiana. He signed with Baylor. We'll have all that and more next on SicEm365 Radio. One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Texas Board Certified Personal Injury Trial Lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recalled drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com, principal office in Houston, Texas.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trust the doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
The holidays are here, and I have a simple question for you. Will you weigh as much more or less than you do right now when the holidays are over? Why not end the year in better shape than when you started and create momentum for 2021? Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness has numerous options for stocking stuffer gifts with gift cards for gym or tennis membership, fitness merchandise, tanning, massage, tennis lessons, and personal training. Perhaps a gift for a client, a family member, or a friend. You just need to walk through the front door to change your life. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness with personal trainers Christy London and Randall Corley. 40-plus group exercise classes, including twice-a-week boot camp. Spacious, clean workout room, free weights, Cybex cardio equipment, and no intimidation. A tremendous camaraderie and family atmosphere. So get the best and healthiest Christmas gift you can for someone or yourself. It's time to react today, not tomorrow, at Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lake Shore Drive in Waco.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
Here's Gaither off the right side, has room. Gaither might go right up the gut at the 20. Gaither 15 inside the 10. He will score. Touchdown. 68 yards, and Paul Catalina, they went to the H-back and they pounded the left side of the La Vega defensive line.
Are you a SicEm365 super fan? Then try out our premium subscriptions at SicEm365.com.
Update from the UIL State Football Championship week in Arlington. Sterling City leads May at halftime, 60-22. They're a touchdown away, and that game will hit the 45-point rule. Also, Richland Springs and Balmer. What's that, second quarter? It says 44-21, Richland Springs leading. Not sure about what that's all about. They're not playing. I didn't think so. I thought that game was pushed back. They were supposed to play, of course, today. The game was postponed because of COVID. Mark playing tonight. We'll hear from Kevin Hoffman in about an hour, their head football coach.
I want to just pass this along because we were talking about the playoffs earlier and just, the Blue Bloods versus the World. And apparently Mike Oresco, the AC commissioner was on Feinbaum this afternoon and said the goalposts keep moving, and I'm not sure where they are anymore. And that's a very fair way to sum it up. And Mac has referenced the breaking away of like the Power Fives and forming their own thing. I think the NCAA just needs to die. Like, period. Blow it up, level it, and then, scatter the ashes in the ocean somewhere and start with something else. But, I think that is going to eventually be a breaking off and just an even further division in college football.
Yeah, we have Kavion Gaither than Demarion Alexander, but this is from Pat Forty. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's 4 or 5 pages. The latest flagrant case of brand name bias. Florida was dropped exactly 1 spot in the top 25 after what was easily the worst loss all season for anyone ranked in the CFP top 9. 23.5-point favorites at home against LSU, and that came in the swamp. They lost to 3-5 LSU with key players opting out and injured LSU. Meanwhile, he was talking about how some teams who don't play stay where they are, Ohio State. Some teams that don't play move up. And some teams that don't play, Cincinnati drops back-to-back weeks, one notch to another. It's a joke, and we could argue about it. No different than it was when LSU or TCU and Baylor had the dogfight throughout the 2014 season. And until they change it, which they won't, we can argue this a year from now as well.
When I hear reporters ask questions like Nicole Auerbach asked
why play the games?
Barta last night, if the games matter and all that, and his answer sounded exactly to me like, so what is your plan for refinancing the defense fund in the government? And it was like, oh, well, I mean, certainly we've got a plan that's going to finance defense. And it was like, that's what it sounds like to me. And if we're to a point where I don't know if I'm listening to the college football commissioner or a BS congressman, then that's bad.
Yeah, and it's been that way. What's his name? The Jeff from Arkansas, who's now at Kansas. He did the same thing. One day it's one thing, 1 week it's the next. Craig?
Yeah, so I feel like they've been a sham this entire time. All you have to do is go back to again, the goalpost moving every week when Baylor was involved. It's funny to watch A&M fans and Billy Liucci lose his mind on Twitter for the last 2 days because it's exactly what Baylor was going through a few years ago. And he's arguing about this schedule and strength of schedule and this and that. And it's silly, man. And the argument against 8 for the people who are arguing against 8, typically, one, they're not fans of Boise State. They're not Colorado State alums. They are Ohio State, Notre Dame, same old, lot of Big Ten guys in the media. And their argument is, well, look at the semifinals. Oklahoma's gotten blown out a couple times. So imagine if you introduce like a UCF into the mix. And okay, there might be blowouts, but I would rather see a blowout with a team getting an opportunity, and then you could say, see, told you so, than just not get a chance at all. Like, what the hell is that?
Yeah, and there's been times we thought it would be a blowout. Let's not forget the week of distractions in Phoenix. UCF embarrassed Baylor. Beat them up and down the field. Baylor, that was the week of the Art Browse in Texas. Utah and Alabama one year, remember? Now, there's also been the opposite as well. Here's the question. Gary, a big picture question. When Iowa State loses to Louisiana and Florida loses to an unranked LSU team, and those don't play a role in the rankings, what's the point of playing games? His answer, well, the games are important because that's what we evaluate. Certainly losses are considered, and they're an important part of the evaluation, but so are wins. So are the teams. In Iowa State's case, they beat number 10 Oklahoma and number 20 Texas. Both wins and losses and strength of schedules are considered. So are the games, obviously important. Why is the game beating number 20 Texas when they beat 2 teams with names?
Yeah, it was kind of funny how Texas just snuck back into the top 25 a couple weeks ago, isn't it? After they were just average, and then all of a sudden they're in there, and hey, maybe some of that's just the blue blood rub, which I'm sure some of it is because a lot of college football writers, particularly this season, aren't smart enough to fill out an entire top 25 that doesn't include a bunch of brand names. But also it is to set the table because they did this with Baylor and TCU.
Yeah.
All of a sudden somebody's ranked higher than they were, and oh, look at that. They're playing the team that's jockeying for this position this week. Yeah. Weird how they jumped up 5 spots all of a sudden. It's a total crock. They're all liars, just like all of our politicians are. And I love that the media, unlike with, one side being checked and the other kind of running free politically, the media in college football has kind of let the NCAA just, do whatever. But I think they're now at the point where they're getting fed up. And that's great because there needs to be some accountability. There needs to be some look, you've given us BS answers for 5 years. You've been talking out of the sides of your mouth, and it's time to explain, like, is this going to be a system for everybody, or is this going to be what it has been the entire time? And if that's the case, then let's just start with 8 teams and let's let them play each other.
Then they wouldn't need a committee.
Right.
Winning the conference championship matters.
That should always matter.
Exactly
that should always matter, and they don't factor it in. I mean, they do when they need to, but when they don't need to, conference championships suddenly aren't as important. I did want to mention Devin Lemire responded to your tweet towards him or whatever, and he said that the snakes would be a nice addition to the studio. Saying.
You put one snake on either side right here.
Yeah.
And corn snakes have fangs, though, right? Don't they,
all have fangs?
Hey, as the producer, I veto that. No snakes.
He sent me a direct message. I'm going to bring them. Armstrong, our days are numbered until, oh my goodness. All right, so we've heard from 3 Baylor commits or signees. We heard from Kyron Drones. And we heard from Devin Lemire. Jackie Marshall, you'll love his story. He's going to be next. He's out of Louisiana. He had already had a conversation with the Dave Aranda and so the staff when they were at LSU. So that's where that came from. Jordan Jenkins at 5:30, the young man we've been able to get great access with thanks to Chris Cochran, the Lindell coaches. They're playing for a state championship this week. But also Kavion Gaither. Here's a young man that we got to know this year covering Conley. We knew him last year. And they made that run, got beat by Gilmer in the 3rd round. But this year, Kavion Gaither took on the quarterback position. They were going to play him at running back. He immediately almost had to play quarterback. And boy, he played everything. Today, Paul, you were there for the signing. Conley had a lot of different players. Here's Kavion Gaither with Paul Catalina. And then we'll hear from Demarion Alexander of China Spring on National Signing Day.
All right, KG, this has been a long process. What does today feel like? Is it joy, relief? What's the first emotion that came up?
Just pure happiness, just knowing that I put that pen on my paper and got my spot solidified. It's just a great feeling. Not a lot of seniors can say they have their spot solidified due to COVID, and so just knowing that, I'm being able to achieve my dreams and my goals, it's a great feeling. I'm just ready to put in the work.
You're going close to home. There's a lot of Central Texas guys going. How much of a fit did Sam Houston feel like when that finally came down?
Oh, it was a great fit. I feel like my parents are very happy about me going to being close to home. That's a great thing for them to be able to come to every game. And then the Central Texas, just being able to play with some of the people at Central Texas, it's just proving that, people can make it out of here. It's not a place where people can look down on. People can make it out of here. And so it's just a great feeling. I can't wait to meet all of them.
You guys had such a fun year and all that. What are your thoughts just on kind of wrapping up? And I mean, I know it's a little bittersweet because this is like the first step of saying goodbye. You got some more sports to play, but it's kind of the first step of saying goodbye to your brothers and your friends here.
Yes, sir. It's definitely hard, but I'm just glad to be able to continue and pursue my dreams. I'm definitely gonna miss this place. I made some lifelong friends here, and definitely met some great people and formed great connections. And I'm just glad that I met these type of people and be able to be around these type of people before I move on to the next level.
All right, so I talked to your mom and dad beforehand, and I know you're going through the rules and dorm stuff, and we're going to be a gourmet chef one day. I know that. So how do you navigate the dorm rules and be still keep your cooking game up to par?
Oh, it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be a struggle. I think it's going to be easy. I'll cook. Hopefully I'll have some other cooks to help me out a little bit or something, so that way we ain't eating bad every day, eating McDonald's every day. But, we'll figure it out. I just can't wait to get up there, man.
Well, he's going to Sam Houston State. Zach Rabachick today from Troy. He had committed to Sam Houston State. Those 2 young men overlooked. They got their opportunity. A lot did. And it's great to see Kavion Gaither and also Zach Rabachick today headed to Sam Houston State to play football there. And then there's Demarion Alexander. It's been a tough stretch for him, and sometimes it's because he himself had to grow up. He initially committed to Minnesota and then changed his mind and today signed with Les Miles.
Demarion, what did today mean to you and your immediate family?
It just meant that all the sacrifice, all the hard work, it finally paid off. In the end.
This has been the craziest of years for everybody, whether they're a student athlete, someone being recruited, or just humans, anybody, a normal person. How much more difficult did that make it, or did it?
Yes, sir. It was very difficult. Not being able to go on to visits, stuff like that, and go see the campus, go see the coaches face to face. It was really difficult. But I mean, I followed my heart. I prayed about it, prayed about it, and I believe I made the right decision.
You were Minnesota, and then you flipped. Didn't flip. You stopped. You opened up your recruitment, and then eventually it was Kansas. What about Les Miles in Kansas was the decision maker for you?
Les is a winner. He puts guys in the league. He prepares them for the league. He's going to do everything he can to win. So, I mean, I'm here to help him win and really just spark this 21 class and spark the Kansas fan base.
Do you think they're going to win? You obviously, he's won wherever he's been. Do you feel like that this could be the start of them turning things around?
Absolutely. He's missing a couple pieces. I believe that my class brings those pieces together, and I really think that we're going to separate ourselves next year. You have been through some things yourself. It hasn't always been easy. So when you signed your name today, what went through your mind? A lot of things went through my mind. There was a lot of emotions. It just built up that, I mean, it's a blessing. God has blessed me with a bunch of talents, and I'm going to use every bit of every talent that he gave me, and I'm just grateful to be here, honestly.
That's Demarion Alexander, signed with signed with Kansas out of China Spring. Many other local players trying to give you a little piece of that, what Baylor did today, among others. And also state championship. Sterling City has beaten May. Final score, I think, 68-22. That was the point rule, the 45-point rule to win their first ever state championship. May was a defending champion, and Sterling City wins that one 68-22. Next up, by the way, 7 o'clock tonight, Mart in their game coming up. The 2A Division II state title, trying to win 4 in a row. Coming up, he's out of Louisiana, and Dave Aranda and his staff knew about Jackie Marshall. He loves Jackie Marshall, and Jackie Marshall loves Dave Aranda and his staff. King McClure on Baylor basketball, and Mack Rhodes as well. Much more to get to on SicEm365 Radio National Signing Day. Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Engel with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like instant issue debit cards free at all of our banking centers, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
Pleasant. It's different than any other dentist office. I really feel like they care.
And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. Staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
Here's Brewer, looking to the end zone. He's got a man, touchdown!
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozer's Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house.
Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
By the way, an incredibly packed 4 o'clock hour. Mac Rhodes in about 20 minutes. King McClure is in studio, former Baylor guard. He'll join us today in just a moment. Also, a little bit later on, Mart football coach Kevin Hoffman. They played tonight for this 2A Division II state championship. Craig, just your quick summary of Jackie Marshall. He was a young man that moved to a different high school as a sophomore, didn't get to play. He was already being recruited by Dave Aranda and staff, and seems to be, if you look at tape, one of those that jumps out at you if you watch some of his highlights.
Yeah, he's a big physical guy. He's got a mean streak about him. I know you hear that about defensive players a lot, but it's apt for describing him. And a guy who I know when he committed and being out of Louisiana and having the type of tape that he did, I mean, here you see him with the football. He's a linebacker, but there he is with the ball. So you can see what kind of athleticism that he has there. And, he's going to be a playmaker for this defense. I think there's a lot of reason to be optimistic about the future of this defense. Here he is coming off the edge, just bull rushing the blocker there and getting the sack. So, he's a guy that somehow or another kind of flew under the radar. He ended up with some offers and whatnot, but not the feared LSU, swoop in at the last minute. So they were able to hold on to him, and that's a great addition.
He's a body, no question about it, with athleticism, a chance. Jackie Marshall, the first person in his family to ever attend college.
Jackie Marshall is one of those signing with Baylor on this National Signing Day. The young man's had a heck of a year. East St. John High School in Reserve, Louisiana. And he is one of the coveted names that Dave Aranda's class signs on National Signing Day. You do understand, right, that you're one of the highest-rated players signing today with Baylor. What does that mean to you?
It means a lot, and all the work I put in for it to be noticed feels great.
What was it about Baylor? And you committed a long time ago. What was it about Baylor, and you've stayed with them the whole time? What was it about the recruitment and also the fact you've remained loyal?
Right. I felt, as you know, like the COVID stuff, like as I was getting recruited, the COVID stuff, it was just like I couldn't go on any visits. So it was all through messages, Zooms, and FaceTime. So like Baylor was really one of the top schools that really stuck around and stayed in contact every day, made sure I was good, and really checked up on me every day, me and my family. So I felt most comfortable going with it. That's cool.
Who recruited you the most?
Coach DJ.
Yeah.
Defensive line coach.
It's Meatball, right? Did you ever call him Meatball?
No, I never called him Meatball.
Yeah, that would be kind of funny, but disrespectful, right? Because he's an elder. So Baylor's defense at times, Jackie, this year were lights out. There were a couple of games. The last game against Oklahoma State got away from them. I think they almost as if they ran out of gas because of the year that they had in dealing with COVID. But they gave Oklahoma all they could handle, and many other teams as well. What about the way they play the game that fits your style and you like?
Here in my high school, we played the same defense that Baylor will be running next year. So I'll say, the coach here, he was kind of get me prepared and stuff for what I'll be seeing next year. So I think that kind of helped out for getting me ready.
How much did it help that you had coaches who were on the staff now at Baylor that were at LSU, Dave Aranda among others? You mentioned Meatball. And how much does that help the familiarity because they were in Louisiana at LSU as well?
It was good because I was in contact with them when they were at LSU too. So we had a relationship, really.
You have remained loyal from day one. Did you ever, I'm going to ask you this, did you ever waver whatsoever? In this day and age, that's hard, isn't it? A lot of kids are bouncing back and forth and whatever.
Yeah.
You're going to lose some people. How much did it help that you just said, this is where I committed, this is where I'm going to go? And what about you as far as your background that allowed you to be that loyal?
Well, when I made the decision to commit to a school like Baylor, I said with myself, once I'm committed, there's no decommitting. So, no matter what happens or what goes on, that's where I'm at.
They need more athletes, more players, playmakers, and some of the guys that maybe have struggled this year will be better if they get a normal off season. What did you see from afar when you watched Baylor, even though they struggled with their record?
I seen teamwork. It's a brotherhood over there. That's just something I want to get a part of. It's new coaches, so the new coaches just came there. They still building the team, and a lot of things still got to do.
Mm-hmm.
Just 1 year, you're still doing it.
How much do you guys get into what becomes an additional group chat or text or whatever? How much of that goes on? And then, as you know, there were some guys that decided to look elsewhere, go elsewhere. How does all that work when you try to maybe maintain and keep that class together as other players?
Well, we try to stay in contact. We're in a group chat right now. We were just talking a couple of minutes ago about congratulating the people that will be signing tomorrow. Congratulate the people that will be signing tomorrow and stuff. So we try to stay in contact with each other, And
it's been hard, hasn't it? Because you haven't really been able to see these guys much because there's no visits, and you don't even know what some of these guys look like unless you look on the internet.
Right.
What does signing with Baylor mean to Jackie Marshall? What does that mean to you?
It means a lot because obviously coming up and as a freshman, sophomore, I didn't expect none of this. I really couldn't play my sophomore year, and then junior year out of nowhere, I just broke out.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't expect none of this to happen. So having this opportunity means a lot to me, and I'll make the most of it.
Bonneville High School to where you are and where you ended up playing, and at East St. John. How difficult was that for you? And you kind of learned a little bit about yourself.
It was at Bonneville. I was a running back, so I switched from running back to D-line, outside linebacker. But that was a big switch for me. I never really played defense on the high school team at all, so I wasn't as big as everybody. I just got to work,
Mm-hmm.
Got in the weight room, did what I had to do.
And did you feel like because and I felt this way, I didn't play football at the level you do. My goodness, I never was that good. But did you almost, when you moved there, they knew you, but you had to kind of gain a little bit of their trust, and you had to you had to prove who you were again?
Definitely. Yes, sir. Most definitely. Because, in fact, nobody really knew me.
Okay.
I didn't have no highlights, nothing, so I had to prove everything.
Do you feel like because of who you ended up being that allowed the transition once they understood the talent you have and who you are as a person, that helped a little bit and kind of allowed you to kind of get to know everybody?
Yes, sir. Yeah, it helped with a lot. A lot of things started going good, and, me being able to play football, because like I said, I couldn't play football my sophomore year. So me being able to start working and get to know people was good.
Maybe that's going to help you when you move and transition to Baylor, because it's been so strange you haven't been able to see some of these guys, and get to know them, the transition. What does this mean to your family?
It means a lot, man. Like the opportunity to be able to do this, I'll be the first one ever in the college and out of my family. So it's like a blessing.
Congratulations.
Appreciate it.
Jackie Marshall from Louisiana, East St. John High School in Reserve, Louisiana, with SicEm365 Radio.
Appreciate him. I love that story when you hear that someone for the first time in a family is going to have a chance to go attend and get a degree in college. Jackie Marshall will get that opportunity. Football had a lot to do with that, but also his grades, taking care of business. Lady Bears polish off Southern, 86-52. That's the final and they're now 5-1. They have 4 games this week if they get to play all of them. We'll hear from Mack Rhoades momentarily, Baylor Director of Athletics, but we're now joined by former Baylor guard and now broadcaster at ESPN, King McClure, in studio with us.
What's up? How y'all doing, man?
Tell everybody what you see right here with this studio and what we're doing.
Man, this studio is amazing. I was not expecting this when I walked in here, and wow, y'all have a nice layout, nice setup, very professional. I'm digging it, for real.
After I hear you talk, I want to stop talking because the pipes, the bass, man, is absolutely fantastic. I heard Paul ask you this question. We'll bring this up. You're broadcasting now, and of course it's different. Some guys cannot even be where they're covering a game and doing the broadcast. What kind of challenge has that been for you?
It's definitely an adjustment. This year we're doing a lot of things from home. So they gave us an at-home kit to call games from. It consists of like a laptop that they have access to, studio equipment, a camera, basically just a mic box, and you just got to do it from home. Do it on Zoom. I mean, Zoom is the way of life now. Everybody is turning to Zoom. Whoever created Zoom is getting lucky and super rich right now. but Zoom is the way of life. I literally called a game last night on Zoom. Like the cameras, we were literally on Zoom, and I was watching the game from Zoom, having to call the game. It's an adjustment. So it's just, you got to adjust to the way of life.
Is there a delay? Like you have to wait for a second to make sure you're, or do you have to go faster because it's ahead of you?
Yeah, so it's a slight delay, maybe like a 1 or 2 second delay, but it's nothing crazy. And last year I did games called Remy Pros, so I'd be on site, but the producer would be in Charlotte or be in Connecticut, and then there was a 2-3 second delay there. So it's more of a delay in that than it was at the crib.
What do you miss the most about being, courtside and calling a game that way?
The energy, definitely. Because when you're in the arena, it just comes out. It comes through you because the fans are going crazy. You hear the sneakers or the little sounds like the ball going through the net, or you hear what the coaches can say. And now you're literally sitting in an office room or just sitting in your room, and you're just like, oh, the ball went in. Okay, that's good. You got to kind of almost fake the energy in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've covered 2 or 3 games at the Farrell Center, and even as someone who's not broadcasting it but covering the game, we're further away, and you don't get to hear some of what's going on right there at courtside. I can imagine the atmosphere, the energy that you don't get that. But you're getting that opportunity, and of course we know you've worked very hard for this. It's ironic that you get the opportunity last year, but now. Yeah. In your first year, here you are, you're having to deal with some of these. You love it, but it's still difficult.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. It's a blessing. I mean, I'm here because of a lot of people, but really, y'all really helped me. King's Court podcast and just getting that off the ground and helping me with that. Y'all are definitely 2 of the people who helped me get to where I'm at today. But it's really a blessing because after ESPN fired like 500 people this past year, they laid off like 500 people. And a lot of big names. I definitely thought I was one of those people that would not have a job. And for them to bring me back says a lot about, what they feel for me and what they see me in the future. So.
Well, King, let's talk about your alma mater. They haven't gotten to play in a week or so, and it might be another week more before they do. But from what you've seen and what Scott Drew and the staff's been able to build, what was the biggest jump from where they've been to where they are now?
I just think it was a matter of, Coach Drew. A lot of times when you look at coaches, when you think about players, a lot of times you don't think that, coaches can get better. You think coaches are so stuck in their ways and they can't get better. From Coach Drew from my freshman year to Coach Drew now, he's gotten better. He always wants to get better. He always wants to improve. And a lot of coaches are so stubborn. They think that they know everything. They think that their way is the way. Coach Drew's not like that. He's willing to learn from anybody. Coach Jacobs, who he brought on from Gonzaga, literally came in there and changed almost the whole structure of our offense. And now you're seeing it playing with 3-4 guards. Coach Drew would have never done that my freshman year. Coach Drew wanted to play with 2 bigs, 2 post-up bigs, 2 guards and 1 wing, true wing, and look down low and try to get the ball to him every single time. Now it's a guard-oriented offense, and he gives them so much freedom. And Coach Drew has literally gotten better as a coach, and that's a testament to him as a man being so selfless.
How special is what he's put together with that coaching staff? I mean, just the number of guys on there. It's just there's a ton of future head coaches on that staff right now. But just how special is that group in your mind?
No, it's a very special group, and I mean, I think it's getting to the point to where we're probably going to see some of them leave. I don't know anything for sure, but I'm pretty sure that there's going to be a lot of offers coming in the next few years, and some of them might leave. And as sad as it is to say, but it's a good thing. Because Coach Drew is producing great coaches, but just the whole culture at Baylor is something that you don't see in a lot of places. And I think that's what makes this program so special. Like I like to say, not everybody is for Baylor. Like we just can't take any type of kid, or we can't have just any type of coach. There's a certain type of person that has to be a part of this program for it to succeed.
Well, Matt Driscoll, Paul Mills, among some of the others that have
Grant
left.
McCaslin.
McCaslin as well, who's done a really nice job where he is at North Texas. And you know, you mentioned how they changed the offense, and it was unfortunate what happened to Tristan.
Yeah.
But how much did that allow that to be a little bit more fluid to make the transition to the guard offense?
It helped a lot. I mean, I hate to see what happened to Tristan, because Tristan was an unbelievable player, one of the most efficient players probably to ever come through Baylor, one of the best big men ever. But once he went down, that just shows you the staff and what Coach Jacobs was able to do and help us be able to realize that, okay, we don't really have a true post-up player, so let's play around our guards. And I think that was the moment that everything shifted and led to, us being the #1 team in the country this past year, and us even going as far as we did my senior year. Nobody picked us to go to the second round of the NCAA tournament and beat Syracuse first round. I think the only reason we did that was because we ran a guard-oriented offense, and Coach Drew gave us freedom. And I think that ultimately led to the success that they're seeing now.
What was it like that morning? Because you guys knew Tristan was hurt, but Baylor didn't announce that until the morning you're playing Kansas, and you were down 20-plus points early.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, my goodness. And then you scratched and clawed back.
Yeah.
What was it like within the locker room? Because I heard Coach Drew said, okay, let's go, let's do this.
Yeah, I mean, I think it started from, I'm not trying to take the credit, but myself and Jake Lindsey, we were the senior leaders, and we've seen great leaders come before us. We've seen the Ishmael Wainwrights. We've seen the Tweety Carters come back and talk to us. And it really just came from within, because, Coach Drew can only say so much to get us fired up. But when your own players, your own brothers who you go to war with believe in you, and we say we're not giving up on this season. Because if you remember, we lost to Texas Southern first game. Then with Tristan, I think Tristan played that game, and we lost to SFA. So then once Tristan went down, everybody lost hope. Y'all probably even lost hope in us, to be honest.
I gotta tell you.
Everybody lost hope in us. And, we literally just said, we're not giving up on the season. I'm not wasting my senior season. I'm not going out sad. I'm going to fight, and we're going to fight. And if you don't want to do this, leave the locker room and don't come back. Because if you step on this court, we're going to fight and give everything that we have. And credit to Maceo and Davion, who that was another reason. They got us so much better in practice, because we're going against those guys every single day in practice. So we're going up against, elite guards, two of the best guards probably in America. I think that's definitely why Jared Butler became Jared Butler, because Davion Mitchell was in Jared Butler every single day. So we had no choice. But, credit to the whole staff and the whole culture, and just myself and Jake Lindsey for just wanting to fight. That's what Coach Drew instilled in us.
It kind of reminds me of the way Scott Drew's now been able to bring guys in, have them sit, or have to kind of wait their turn, with the way that the previous Baylor regime, our Browse regime, would have quarterbacks, and you'd be like, somebody's got to transfer, but they'd all stick around because they wanted to play and they wanted to wait their turn. And that's kind of what we're seeing right now with guys who could go somewhere else and probably play right away, but they want to be a part of that culture that you're talking about.
Yeah, next year will be an interesting year for us. We bring in all those talented young guys, because everybody gets this year back.
Right.
So it's almost like, hey, coach, we have a top 3 recruiting class coming in, 2 McDonald's All-Americans. Are you going to sit them? What are you going to do? I'm glad I'm not in that predicament. It's a good predicament to be in, but I would not want to be there, because do you force guys out? Do you keep all of them? Then if you keep all of them, somebody's not going to be happy. So honestly, we'll see what happens. But
it's a good problem to have, though, right?
Yeah, it's a great problem to have.
When we were doing King's Court podcast together, you told me about Davion and Maceo, and it's one of those things where sometimes you hear somebody like, oh yeah, they're really good, but like the way that you said it, like, no, I'm not kidding you, these guys are good, and the way that you said how much like Maceo shoots, and like Davion never leaves the gym. Like,
yes.
They need to get him a cot there. Like, he literally never leaves the gym. Yeah. Like, to know that those are, like, to have a coaching staff that knows that, like, man, we've got two weapons that nobody's even seen yet waiting in the wings. What was that like for them to know that into last year? Like, oh, my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of scary. Like, when you have to tell people, like, you have to leave the gym. You got to kick guys out the gym. That's kind of scary. Like, who works that hard? I feel like I worked hard, and I feel like I worked really hard, and then Maceo and Davion come to campus, and I'm like, dang. Like y'all don't even have a social life. Like, I feel sorry for you. Like,
we are sharing secrets here on SicEm365.
You know what? I'll tell you. I don't think Davion, if you told Davion, like, I heard you don't have a social life, he'd be like, yeah, so?
Yeah, he doesn't. Like, he has a girlfriend, and he plays Fortnite and plays video games, but he never leaves the gym. And honestly, hey, if you want to reach your dreams and reach your goals, that's what you have to do, sacrifice. Like, if you ever think about it, like when you watch Jordan, when you watch Kobe, like those guys were weird, right? Like, in order to be that great, you have to be wired different mentally. Like, because like me personally, I want to have a social life. I want to like go out. I want to like be with my friends, my family. Those guys don't care. Like Jordan, Kobe, I'm surprised Kobe was married as long as he was, because he was up at like 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning when nobody else was up working. And literally, Maceo and Davion was the closest thing I've ever seen to that. Like, the way that they just literally stayed in the gym.
Baylor Athletic Director Mack Rhoades will join us momentarily. They have not been able to play. They've had games pushed back. Gonzaga, then obviously the game with Texas, and they're right now kind of in this shutdown period. How will this hurt them? Because they're right now smack in the middle of the start of Big 12 conference play.
I honestly don't think this is going to hurt them. I think that team is so good. I think they're so talented that they'll bounce back. And I think, honestly, knowing those guys, they'll be more hungry to play because they've had all these cancellations. I think that'll just bring out the fire even more. Like, when they finally get out there, they'll be able to unleash everything that they've been holding it in. Just knowing those guys, knowing the way they think, they're killing to be out there.
Yeah, they have that competitive, like, burn desire.
Oh,
like and they look really good when they had the delays of Indianapolis, not Indianapolis, they couldn't play in Connecticut. You know, then they go to Indianapolis and they get Illinois, and they get them pretty good. Man, that game with Gonzaga would have been great just to see the game, huh?
Yeah, that would have been a great game. That actually messed up my whole Saturday. I was looking forward to watching that. Literally all week I was like, can't wait for this. I had bets with some guys who used to go to Gonzaga. Like, we were about to bet on that and couldn't even do it. But hopefully, I don't know how much it's going to – I don't know if it's going to come back or not, but I hope they find the time to play this game.
Yeah, that'd be great. King, thank you. Go ahead. You got another?
No.
Go ahead,
I was going to say, the regular season doesn't always have a lot of really juicy matchups. Everybody's kind of like, oh, let's get to the postseason and March. But that was one where everybody was like, no, we want to watch this game. And then everybody was disappointed. So, yeah, hopefully they can reconvene on that one later.
So you got a game coming up? You have a broadcast?
Yeah, I just finished last night. I did Iowa State and Kansas State. I have a game Monday. I'm actually doing a Baylor game Monday if they're able to play against, I think it's Arkansas Pine Bluff. And then Tuesday, I go to TCU. I'm doing North Dakota State at TCU.
All right. Barry White in studio with us. Man, we love you, man. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it, King. We're going to do this every Wednesday, huh?
Every Wednesday, I'm down.
We're looking forward. King McClure, former Baylor guard, ESPN broadcaster, the behind the scenes of doing games this year, and a lot of insight on Baylor men's basketball. When we come back, Baylor Director of Athletics, Mack Rhoades on SicEm365 Radio.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jeweler, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or draw in and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs, too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
MP Electric has developed a quality-oriented electrical contracting service in more than 20 years in the industry. Led by President Mark Perry, our electricians go through a 5-year apprenticeship program, are licensed by the state of Texas, and getting continuous education annually upon renewal. In great part, the success of MP Electric lies with its management and professional expertise of its employees. All of our employees share a dedication to quality and commitment to serving the needs of our customers. For new construction and remodels, parking lot, lighting and surge protection, landscape lights, security lights, troubleshooting, and repairs. For industrial manufacturing, food and beverage, paper and publishing, heavy industry, cement and rock crushing plants, water distribution plants, and utilities. For 20 years, MP Electric has serviced industrial, commercial, and residential products. We do service right. MP Electric Inc. at 1890 Galaxy Road, Waco. MPelectricusa.com.
Car has the trucks, man. They have the one for you. Crew cab, short or long bed, silver, black or blue. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, he has the truck for you. Carr has the trucks, man. He has the truck you need. If you want the best truck, you want a GMC. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, they have the truck for you.
If you or a loved one or friend has been arrested and you can't afford bail, trust Terry and Chase Chapman at Chapman's Bail Bonds, covering Waco and McLennan County for over 25 years. Chapman's can bail you out anywhere with experienced, knowledgeable local agents who are committed to serving you professionally, respectfully, and with the highest integrity. Chapman's understands your privacy is important. Your freedom can be secured fast when you use Chapman's Bail Bonds. Open 24 hours a day. Payment arrangements available. Call Chapman's Bail Bonds. When you need help, 254-754-1603. When you ring, we'll spring.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. Our weekly segment with Baylor Director of Athletics, Mac Rhodes, is brought to you by Edward Jones Investments Brokers. Tom Albers, Brad Wilson, Ben Erlinson, and Cam Heathcott. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
All right, here we go. This 4 o'clock hour, 428, Director of Athletics at Baylor University. Mac Rhodes joins us on SicEm365 Radio. Normally Tuesdays at 420, but he was busy. I don't even know how to start today. I saw you Saturday around halftime of the Oklahoma State game, and it looked like you hadn't slept in 3 days. And in the middle of that, you knew what was coming up on Monday and Tuesday, and you were also most likely dealing with the story about your men's basketball team. How are you making it through this?
I felt really bad because when we had the conversation, I knew in the next minute, we were gonna have to say something about the men's basketball program. So, yeah, but yeah, we're making it, and it's part of what we're dealing with, and you just you don't think about it. You just keep going. So you do what's required, and we'll get through all of it.
You released a statement along with Dr. Livingstone yesterday evening about the meetings. Is that all you can say? Is there anything we could ask you? Can you answer questions from us on it?
I really can't, and I think you know that I would if I could, and I would be as transparent as I could, but just NCAA rules, right, prohibited it, and I want to have great respect. Baylor wants to have great respect for the process. Not to be repetitive of the statement, but certainly we believe we were given a fair opportunity to present our position, and we'll move forward. And I think it's good to get it over. The timing, you can't make it up, right?
Yeah,
that was my next question.
Yeah, the 2 days right before signing, but that probably wasn't ideal, but that's the way it landed, and so I think we did the best we could. I think Coach Aranda and the staff did an unbelievable job, and I think for all of us, for our football program, for our athletics department, our university, the Baylor family, this will be good to get behind us. Right? It's been this black cloud that's kind of hung over us, and people used it against us. Right? So here in the future, it'll be good to to get it out of the way, and whatever happens, right? And there's no way of predicting, right? Whatever happens, we'll manage it, and I really believe that we'll get through it. We'll manage it, and move forward. So,
did you offer no bowl game this year?
Yeah, I can't speak to that. And
that was tongue in cheek about LSU. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I know it was, I'll get myself in trouble if I even go down that road on what LSU decided to do.
Okay, All right, we'll respect that. Thank you,
Mac. It is National Signing Day. What's that like for an athletic director when you have now that you have? There's several, but this one now that's kind of become the chief one since it's the first one.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a great day. I think it's about welcoming 18 young men into the family, and all of the signing days are for all of the sports. Obviously, nationally, the college football signing day is a big celebration, but it's about just welcoming these young men into your family, and and I think this one is a little special because it's Coach Aranda's first, and he's really worked hard at it, and the staff has worked hard at it, and really it's his first from start to finish, I should say, and under unique circumstances. When you think about the circumstances, obviously he got in late last year, but this is really from where he really truly began to develop the relationships, and I think he's done a terrific job. I think the staff did a terrific job, and I'm excited about the future of the program.
Mac, the Division I Council just granted the waiver allowing D1 transfer student athletes in all sports to compete immediately this year. I know with women's basketball, they were waiting for this to add to their lineup, and I guess pretty much everybody is. So I know you were expecting this, but now that it's passed, your thoughts on the immediate waiver, or the waiver for immediate playing time for all transfer student athletes this year?
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I think there, and you guys can help me out on this because I have been a little busy, but I think there was like 50 plus first day after the season, right after the 12th of young men that went into the transfer portal for football, and I think this is it's I think it's gonna initially potentially create a cause of proliferation of transfers in the portal. I think it will settle down and balance out, but it's going to be interesting. What you hope, right, is, and this is where I worry, is you hope that it doesn't entice people to now try to begin recruiting student athletes, off other rosters, even though we know that's prohibited, right? But that's where I worry, in that temptation. So, yeah, it's a new world for us. And, I had this conversation with Coach Aranda in this idea about, I really feel strongly that, we're getting to a point, place, and time that we're going to have somebody on staff that, all they are focused on is roster management. Just with the transfer portal now, this transfer legislation, right? You think about, next year, everybody's been given an extra year, and just, somebody focused, and that's all they're thinking about 24 hours a day, right? Living, breathing is the management of the roster. It's become all of a sudden now very, very complex.
I just wanted to add what this means is, as Kim Mulkey joined us last week, Jaden Owens is now available to play. She could have played earlier today. They were waiting on this, and so now Jaden Owens is cleared, and Kamari McDaniel would have been cleared, but she's hurt right now. So yeah, but that's great news.
You're talking about the no, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's great news. Go ahead, Mac.
No, it is. No, it's great news for our women's basketball program. No doubt. And this is one of these. This is one of these rules, right, where it cuts both ways. It's been a positive and certainly a positive today for women's basketball. But it's going to have to ensure that you do a really great job of establishing relationships with student athletes, right? But if somebody's not playing or happy or satisfied with playing time, it now is easier for them to leave. And, what I worry about is that always the best thing for them. And, I hope that, as we move on down the road, any of our student athletes and I hope there's none, but that's statistically, that's not going to be the case. But, what I hope is that, when you make that decision, that you do it with really open eyes and very carefully and thoughtfully, and it's not an emotional decision. I think you just, grass isn't always greener, and you just need to be, and that's what I would encourage all of our young people, is just to be really, really thoughtful about it. So,
Mac, you brought up something when we were talking about roster management last week, and it was when the rosters go back down to whatever they're going to the normal level of 85 scholarships in football, that's going to be the real problem. Would that roster management person essentially also have to, because that means if it's going to go back down, that you're going to have to tell people who you previously wanted there that, look, we just can't have you anymore, and help them find another path, which I know a lot of coaches do now, but like specifically start thinking about, okay, how can we help these guys play somewhere where they have a scholarship available?
Yeah, no, exactly, Paul. And it's also going to be, and, I'm not speaking for Baylor, specifically, but just in general. It's also going to be the conversation where you may have somebody that's been on your roster for 2 years, and you have to look them in the eye and say, hey, I love you, but I don't know that you're going to have the opportunity to play, right? And, it's probably best that you transfer, right? That we don't have a spot for you next year. And so those are all of the things. And even with the guaranteed scholarship, those are all of the things that are going to have to be managed and dealt with. And, I think recruiting takes on just a whole new dimension, just in terms of, now everybody's looking at the transfer portal. and that's now a viable source in terms of recruiting. And so just an added dimension that that you're going to have to deal with and manage, and have some really transparent, honest conversations.
Mac, speaking of transfers, a couple of players who have been around the last 4 years were part of Matt Rule's first recruiting class. Charlie Brewer, John Lovett, moving on. Just, obviously great careers at Baylor, and going to see what else is out there. Just your thoughts on those two young men and what they were able to do in Waco.
Yeah, I think personally, emotionally, that was hard for me. I love those two young men. I think they're terrific young men, and the rebuild of the program, right? They took a chance on Baylor when we were at a really low point, and they were key young men in terms of the building the program back up, and so forever grateful to them. I wish them the very best. Certainly support their decision, and I think it's a good decision for them, and I think for us, it's probably as much as you hate to see them go, it gives us some clarity and the ability to move forward as well. So when a student athlete decides to transfer out, you hope that separation, that you can do it in the manner that we did it with both. And so I appreciate the way Charlie handled it. I appreciate the way John handled it, and I appreciate the way Coach Aranda. And so wish them nothing but the best, and grateful for all of their contribution. Not just on the football field.
Yeah, they both handled it. Now, I'm not asking you to talk about the last 2 days, but in your statement, is there anything that people can read into the last sentence as we remain excited about the future of our football program?
Yeah, you can read into the fact that we signed 18 really quality young men and really good football players, and the news, right, of the hearing did not disrupt that. Coach Aranda has been extremely transparent, obviously within NCAA rules and guidelines, and with Coach Aranda and his leadership, and the young men that we have in the program, and the young men that are returning. I feel like the future is bright, and we're not going to make any excuses, and we're gonna move forward, and whatever that next step is with the process, with the NCAA process, we'll deal with it, manage it, and move forward.
Based on the transfer now, with what Craig brought up earlier, you mentioned having to hire somebody like almost a salary cap management guy. The NFL has a salary cap person that they manage that. Isn't that, some college teams you might need a salary cap manager, but as far as, isn't that kind of what you're saying, that someone is a general manager of the roster?
Yeah, and I'm not saying that we're going to hire somebody, but I do. I mean, that's my thought process. Do we need to hire somebody, right? And is there somebody on staff that really can take that, under their wing? I don't know that you can do it just part time. And yes, it's to what you asked, Smoak, and it's exactly what I mean. It's there's got to be somebody, I think, that's really focused on all of those moving pieces, and that they've got a great handle on it, and they've got one eye on the transfer portal, right? They've got one eye current staff. They've got, the graduate transfer piece in place, and there's just a lot of moving pieces to it now. And those that manage the roster, best, I think are going to, have an opportunity to be really, really successful.
One more thing, if you don't mind, the loss of Chance Was passed away on Sunday, and how that affected the amount of emotions that it brought. You were here when he was here, and we've discussed mental health. We've discussed transitions. This is about transitioning from a football student athlete into the regular world. How much did you get a chance to ever visit much with Chance, and your thoughts about him and his impact at Baylor?
Yeah, first of all, heartbreaking. This has been a tough 2 weeks, right? We limped into the Oklahoma State game from a roster perspective. It's documented, the staff piece, the basketball right, the hearing, and then his death, which more significant than all of it, right? Just it's heartbreaking, and for a young man, to get to that point, right? It makes you think, what happened, right? And how do you get to that point? And you certainly think about the student athletes, our student athletes that we have now. Are we doing enough, right? Are we pouring enough into them? Do we have all of the resources? And my heart breaks. And you're right. I had an opportunity, to get to know him a little bit. There was so much going on at that time when I first came in, right? Just trying to manage all of it, but what a quality young man, number one, right? And his family, everybody, just in our prayers, and like I said, heartbreaking.
Well, you have some people you need to pat on the back, and we want to bring them up because I saw what Austin Thomas presented today about Addison Skaggs, Jordan Burgess, and Patrick Clancy. I'll never forget the day of the puppets at last year's National Signing Day and how that exploded across national media, and how valuable Matt Rule told me that those may have been as valuable as anybody they had in the program. And you have these now young people who are brilliant with what they've done. Your thoughts about how proud you are of what they did in creative today?
Yeah, they're awesome. I really believe we've got as good a creative team, or maybe the best creative team in athletics. They just continue to work and find new ways, and I'm always amazed at how they can produce something that is such great quality, and then find a way to surpass that the next time. And they're unbelievable, and Taylor Bryan does a great job of leading them. And those are the unsung heroes. Mm-hmm. Those are the people that just they just never get enough credit. So I'm really thankful and grateful that you bring them up. But they're there at practice, right? They're in their office, until 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, right? They're called on at a whim, right? Hey, we need this immediately, and they find a way to get it done. And their loyalty, their work ethic is amazing, and it's what makes our athletic department special.
Thank you, Mac. Appreciate it. I know it's been an amazing whirlwind, good and bad, in some cases awful, with the loss of Chance Was and what you've dealt with. We appreciate your time, and we respect you can't say much, but we had to ask. Thank you for your time.
No problem. Grateful for you guys. Take care.
Mac Rhodes, Baylor's Director of Athletics, on SicEm365 Radio. The statement released yesterday, he did discuss it a little bit. You could tell that the fact that it happened to be when it was supposed to be April, they pushed it back. It's been 2, 3, 4 years, and they end up having the meetings on the verge of national signing. I'll say this, that's bull. You know what? It's like, yeah, it's good that it's out of the way. that they had the meeting with the Committee on Infractions. But that's something that was planned. I don't give a damn what the NCAA says. That was absolutely, well, let's push it back, and let's do it on Monday and Tuesday before National Signing Day. There was something they did before about National Signing Day. There was something else, and I can't remember what it was.
I forget, but I recall that as well, and I don't remember if it was the NCAA or if it was like a piece that came. But, like, yeah, there was a really weird timing thing like a year or two ago, right around signing day.
It was on Monday. It was on a Monday.
Yeah.
It was another one of those, you know, and listen, Baylor faces whatever they have to face, whatever it is. The good news is the sooner they find out whatever it might be that they're going to face, it might be the hard day you've ever, you know, it might be, but it's a good day because then you can move on. No matter if you lose scholarships or you have to give up wins or whatever. I hope that's not the case because they lost so many people immediately. President, AD, football coach, basically gutted their class of 2016. I'm not trying to defend them. Whatever is there is there. We don't even know most of it. But the timing was absolutely something they went,
I'll tell you what, the NCAA is not calling up Ohio State on Monday and Tuesday of signing day week. They're just not. No. They will not do that, and that tells you, again, going back to what we talked about at the very beginning, about the disparity that's growing larger in college athletics, and I think this is something to maybe ask Mac about next week. When we have other things to talk about. I mean, I just didn't want to push on the NCAA thing anymore, but I was curious to know, like, do they give any type of an indication on, like, they're not going to tell you, like, hey, we'll have March 1st, we'll have a decision, but do they give you any idea, or is this something to where, like, we'll call you when we call you, and 2 years from now, you know, they're still waiting on a decision.
Well, they're still good, and it could be caught up in court even if they come up with something in 2 or 3 months. We'll have him on to discuss that again on Tuesday of next week.
By the way, Tony Mac Rhodes said he'll take care of Devin Lemere's
Devin
snakes.
Lemire just direct messaged me. He's bringing the corn snakes, okay. Armstrong. We're going
to have one right on that table with the producers. And then maybe one right.
But the graphic they put up for him was a rattlesnake. No, it's not a corn snake.
Snakes, like, there's a reason the devil was a snake. There's a reason.
I agree with you. Put yourself on camera when you're going to do this now.
He wasn't like a lemur or something that was like an ocelot that was kind of cute.
No.
All right, when we come back, I know we have Kevin Hoffman. We're going to try to get that to you. But when we come back, I don't know. Yeah, what do you want to do, Paul?
So we'll do this. We'll take. We'll come back with Dave Aranda after Kevin Hoffman.
All right.
So you'll hear
Dave Aranda is going to join us a little bit after 5 from earlier today. His press conference that we probably are going to carry about half of what he said. And then Jordan Jenkins of Lindale, one of the prime recruits for Baylor, who signed earlier today, championship game this week. He'll join us live at 5:30. This is SicEm365 Radio.
Christmas time is Jeep time at Allen Samuels. It's the big finish event, and the world's most awarded SUV has 0%, no payments for 90 days, and employee pricing for all on select models. Save thousands on the rugged Renegade and new 2020 Grand Cherokees. Even new 2021 Jeep Cherokees are included. 0%, no payments for 90 days. Employee pricing for all. Happy holidays from Allen Samuels.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717 or cam.heathcott@edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Don Humidor, your home with a 48-foot walk-in humidor with the elite cigar brands from around the world, including the #1 cigar of the year, Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua. Plus, they have the great brands like Macanudo and Artur Fuente, Rocky Patel, Aston, and so much more. CBD, great for sore muscles, aches and pains, sleep, Vita Dreams, and anxiety, mild depression, general health and wellness. Their staff very knowledgeable on the subject. If anyone is curious about CBD, ask Carol and Ashley. Don Humidor in the Townwood Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
At
At Baylor University, students can shine in their own way. Or should we say their own ways? Because there's no limit to the ways Baylor students make the world a brighter place. Whether they're leading a student organization or following a higher calling, getting advice from faculty, or taking part in world-class research, pursuing their dreams, or working toward their dream job, students find their place to shine at Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Bird Culchin Ford has been in Waco since 1936. Ford, the #1 selling truck in Texas, 43 years running. And Bird Culchin Ford proudly supports high school football in Central Texas. And no better way to tailgate with a Ford than from Bird Culchin Ford. And are there better vehicles to tailgate with than the Ford F-150 or the Ford Expedition? And of course, you can get them new, pre-owned Bird Culchin Ford. Our sponsor of the Ford Tough Player of the Week, locally owned dealership. Online at bkford.com at 1701 West Loop 340 in Waco. Bird Culchin Ford.
Waco's newest gym, Halo Athletic Center, 5725 Bagby Avenue, right behind Region 12 and across the highway from the Central Texas Marketplace, where motivation, inspiration, and hard work are the driving force. State-of-the-art equipment, indoor and outdoor track, locker rooms, showers, yoga and bar classes by Duality Yoga, bod pod potty composition analysis, and registered dietitians, all under one roof, where we rise above. Come join the Halo Athletic Center and be a part of the change, your change.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
This segment with Mart Panthers football coach Kevin Hoffman is sponsored by Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, Southwest Sports Medicine, First National Bank of Central Texas.
Mart head football coach Kevin Hoffman, state championship week, home away from home for the Mart Panthers at AT&T Stadium in Irving. In the history of high school football, 100 years in Texas, only 4 teams have ever won 4 state titles or more in a row. Sealy, Salina, Fort Hancock 4, Lake Travis had 5 straight. What's that mean when you're going for that in your championship game on Wednesday?
It just means that you've been added to the list of some great teams, great traditions for Texas high school football, amongst some others. But those guys are some blue bloods and have been around for a long time, and we would like nothing more than to be added to that group.
And it's crazy because even when you mentioned the year you went back-to-back, as great as Mart has been over the years, that was a first, then 3 in a row, and now a chance to go 4 straight. Your thoughts about Windthorst? I've noticed they've had 5 wins against teams that have won 10 games or more. They've played good people. They just beat Wellington in a slugfest. Your thoughts about them?
Yeah, they got a great program. We played them back in 2017, so we have a little bit of history with them. But, they run, the spread offense and then can play smash mouth with you. And defensively, they're as tough and as hard-nosed as they get. They've been ranked in the top 5 all year long. Played some really good people and beat some really good brand-name teams. So it's going to be a slugfest.
You know what? This is a week where the weather's been kind of nasty. You get to play indoors. That's what's the great thing about AT&T Stadium, a controlled environment. But you've had to practice already in some very tough conditions. Does that make it? You're tough. You guys would play anywhere. You'd play in Alaska if you had to. But your thoughts about the conditions this week?
Yeah, it's it's going to be different than any other week. Playing indoors. But like we've been there the last 3 years, so we played in practice in some tough conditions over the years. So these kids are just like anybody else. It's a little tough sometimes at practice when it's cold and the wind's howling out of the north. And if you've ever been to our stadium, there ain't nothing to block the wind. And when it's 10 to 15 miles an hour out of the north for everybody else, it's probably 25 to 30 coming across our game field. So it's a little bit different, and kids are kids, and it's a little chill, it's a little tough sometimes, but these kids understand that they'll fight through it, and they see what's at the end of the tunnel here.
Speaking of your stadium, speaking of Mart ISD, when I went and saw you last week, I was absolutely blown away by the changes within the school district, the facilities. How proud is everybody? I know the Davis family was huge, but how proud is that community of what you now have with those schools?
Well, the J.L. Davis family and the community members here of Mart, Texas, basically, gave us the money to build this place, and we built a beautiful new high school, and if you've been through town, you're seeing all the wind turbines going up, and there's going to be more money pumped into this community, and we've got a grant to redo the water system, redo the roads, and so here in the next 5 or 10 years, this place is going to be even more amazing as far as, the town and the facilities and those types of things, because there's more things in the works. But, we're as proud as we could be of our new school and our athletic facilities. But, the people that came before us and the old school that was still, a great school that is no longer, but we still remember the people that were here in the past that paved the way for us now and the kids in the future.
Kevin, I had a chance, thanks to you, to interview Micah Sauls. We did on SicEm365 Radio on Friday. He talked about how his father had a ring from the 99 team. He talked about how his grandfather's brother, and it's all about lineage, generational, the greatness of Mart. Isn't that, I basically said, it's just basic. We're born as a man, a young boy, a child. You're born and they inject Mart Panther blood in you. Is that correct?
It is. This place is amazing that they just keep producing, athletes and players and good people. The kids that I've coached now, like you said, their dads played here years ago, and then their uncles played here, and then their grandfathers played here, and you can just go back as far as you want to go back, and we still have a lot of people. Elderly people that still come to our games and enjoy that played here, 40 and 50 and 60 years ago. So it's just unbelievable, the support and everything that we get from the community. And, like I said, the people, it just continues to go. The people that were born and raised here stay here, and we lose a few people that move off, but pretty much the kids are born and raised here.
Final thing. You're about to play for a state championship. We know all the numbers and all the things you've done in recent years and overall at Mart High School. Did you ever think back in August when things were back and forth with even being able to practice or play that you would get to this moment?
We hoped to, and we prayed for it, and, just to be able to have a season and have an opportunity. But, things were kind of dire that back then in the summer when we didn't know if we were even going to be able to start practice or play games or anything like that. And we lost games through this season because of COVID and people having to forfeit or change schedules, and so we're blessed to have made it this far, just like any other year. But the COVID thing has really made it stressful on the coaches, the players, the parents, and it's just one of those things. And what don't kill you only make you stronger. And so, we feel like that the tough times and this disease, this virus is taking a lot of lives from a lot of people, and so we're just praying for those families that have been affected, and hopefully that we can get a cure for this thing, and we can move past it, and we'll all be better for it.
Kevin Hoffman, good luck, Coach. Thank you. That's Kevin Hoffman, head coach at Mart, playing for a 4th consecutive state title Wednesday against Winthor. SicEm365 Radio.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. And this football season, you need to stop by on game day for curbside pickup or stop by their tent next to Sic'Em365 at Brazos Parking for your pregame refreshment. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of health care while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of health care has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed, everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries, celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas. Our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
The 5 o'clock hour is sponsored by Edward Jones Investments with financial advisor Tom Albers, staying in touch with you and your money through these difficult and changing times. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
First down and goal for Baylor, and Brewer over the middle. He has Ebner in for a touchdown.
This segment on Baylor Athletics on SicEm365 Radio is brought to you by Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac, located at the Imperial Drive exit off Loop 340 in Waco. Proud supporters of all Baylor Athletics.
Now, here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
All right, so Baylor signed 18 players, 17 players they had committed as a part of their class of 2021, and then also Drew Estrada, the wide receiver from the Ivy League. He now is a part of the class as well. And now they move on and try to keep those who are at least making decisions. I mentioned this early in the show. One of them that's in the full court press is Raleigh Tejada. The Dave Aranda has really done some work on Raleigh Tejada, so that will be an interesting decision because I thought Raleigh was gone. Not so fast, my friend, as the great Lee Corso has said. It looks like there's an opportunity. Raleigh Tejada very interested in staying with Coach Aranda. And so that's part of the deal. We'll have Jordan Jenkins of Lindale live with us here in about 25 minutes.
Let's call it 50-50, though, not get people's hopes up that automatically means he's going to come back either. I mean, it's better chances than maybe it was earlier this morning, but, he's still got to ultimately make that choice.
Well, it's a 50% better chance than what it was Monday morning because I think there were even a couple of places that were trying to get in contact with him to discuss, okay, what's now? We move towards getting you ready for the NFL Combine and much, much more.
But if they get Raleigh Tejada back and Treston Ebner back potentially, and you've got,
Bernard healthy back.
Bernard potentially healthy. I mean, my gosh, man.
And look, Boogie Barnes with both
get him healthy.
Hands.
Squirrel Williams, get him through, again, unfortunately for him, multiple times he's had to deal with knee injuries. And so Dave Aranda today met earlier with the media right as we opened up our show. This is Dave Aranda, a chunk of what he had to say with questions about National Signing Day and the offseason.
We'll get started with John Warner.
Hey, Dave, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Good. Looks like you brought in a really balanced class. Pretty much got a player at every position. Was that kind of the goal?
It was, I think, so I just wanted to say, I'm so thankful for our staff and their efforts. I think a lot of these guys were identified on first junior day. I think that was probably our first event that we had as a staff. On the very first day of that we were allowed to, just prior to COVID and quarantine and everything. So a lot of these guys we met then, and from that point on, just communicating through phone calls, through text, through Zoom. You'd like to have person-to-person meetings, and really outside of that one opportunity, we have not. And so for all the effort kind of put into it, I appreciate them. A lot of our guys, so 15 of the 18 are from the state of Texas. I appreciate the Texas high school coaches. To get our list for that junior day was working through the Texas high school coaches, and in the process of really trying to narrow down kind of who we were looking at and who we really wanted, and just their input and their feedback is just so respected by us, and it's a blessing to be in the state of Texas and have those guys available. And so I want to say that, and then I want to say thank you just to all of our recruits that signed. I think you'd like to have, I would think, in-person meetings. You'd like to see a campus. You would like to come to a practice or come to a game and see kind of how guys are coaching and what it's like and what the feel of things are like. You'd probably like to see a team that won more than what we won. And so I just, to them, the recruits and and their families, I appreciate them sticking with us, and their belief and their love for the school and for the football program. And it means a lot. And so I just wanted to say that first, but yeah, going into it, we wanted to be balanced. We wanted to address receivers and O-linemen and linebackers specifically, but we wanted to be balanced throughout.
I saw counting Estrada, you brought in 5 receivers. Is that just a position you need a lot of guys at, or is this maybe an exceptional year for that?
No, I think we were down in numbers to begin with, just in terms of depth, and I think it was something that when you're running 4 wide sets and 3 wide sets, and to have the depth where you can feature certain guys and then rep guys in and out and feel really comfortable about doing that, as well as that position group being able to play on special teams in the return game, and then just on cover and rush units. I think it's just imperative that we build up that group along with the O-line and the linebacker group.
Will you be watching John Jenkins Friday night in the state championship game?
I tell you what, his season has just been an unbelievable one. So excited for him. Every time that we talk, he's got his grandmother right there next to him, and just like the love that they have, their connection, and then we are so blessed to be loved by them. I just feel like it's a perfect fit, and I feel like his season, good things happen to good people. You put in the work, you do the right things, you pour into other people, you're selfless, good things end up coming to you. So I'm excited for him. I know he's going to do well. We talked about that this morning.
Thank you, Dave.
Let's go over to Jerry Hill.
Dave, look like, for one thing, just looking through the list, you got some DBs with size. Was that a point of emphasis, or was that just who was out there, or did y'all really go after some of the bigger guys?
No, that's a good question. It is a point of emphasis. I think there's been some guys that have been brought up that are on the shorter side, and I think we've all played with guys that are along those lines. It just takes, I think, a bunch in other areas. There's spots that just have to be exceptional, and I think just approaching it from the beginning, just having length at the safety spot. When you close the post, you've got that range to make plays on the ball. Same when you're playing half a field, and when you're in the box, you've got the length where you can get a guy down and make a tackle. Then at corner, the ability to play press, I think, is helped by length and strength, eventually, but getting hands on people and at the line of scrimmage, and so as well as playing the ball down the field. I think, I've always been a believer in length at the DB spot, and Ron Roberts is as well, and Brian Stewart has always favored that as well too.
You had 7, or you do have 7 early enrollees in this class. Was that an important thing, or was that just something that happened? I believe the quarterback, a couple of the wide receivers, those are guys that will be here in the spring.
Yeah, I think that was something early on where we wanted to identify guys and see kind of where it landed with the available spots that we had. And so we're fortunate that we've got some really great character kids coming in early. I think the benefit of coming in early is just the, hey, where do I park? Right? Where do I sit? Right? How does this go? What does a weightlifting session, how does that work? What does a tutoring session work like? And the ability to really attack those things and make friendships with the team. And as we're kind of coming together and galvanizing, they're a part of it. And I think it just puts us in a real good position as a team to attack spring. I think when you can be a part of it from that point early on, I think it just helps, just individually and then for us collectively too.
Over to Matt Roberts.
Yeah, Coach, you got in kind of late to begin with, taking over here at Baylor just before the previous signing day. But since really you've been here, you really haven't been able to have a lot of guys on campus. How did you all overcome that? And what was that process like? Really a dead period that extends into even April now.
That's a really good question. I appreciate the question. So I remember in quarantine at my house back in Baton Rouge at the time, being on the phone, I get a call from Larry Fedora, and he goes, Dave, there's so-and-so is having some Zoom presentation, and they're doing this and they're doing that. And, Dave, I'm just letting you know, and he got that information, I think, from Joe Wickline. And so I called Wick, and Wick was pretty worked up because he was in a battle for a guy, and Wick talked about it. And it was just, it was the advent of a new world, really. And so I think we caught on right after that. And, I credit Larry McDonald and Vince Ginta and our group there, our recruiting group. Austin Thomas is part of that as well, and just pouring themselves into kind of our virtual meetings. And so we would have a Zoom call, and there would be a example of what the campus looks like, and what game day looks like, and pictures of the facilities and all of it, and the different majors, and character formation, and SACE, and just the whole thing. And so I think once we started to do that, people just saw that Baylor was more than football, and that football is important and football is valued, but it's bigger than football, man. You see football as an opportunity to learn and grow, and ultimately show who you are as a person. And I think once we were able to have a way to do that, I think we were able to have some success in communicating with folks.
Thanks, Coach.
Over to Grayson Grunhofer.
Hey, Coach, now that you have this class kind of built the foundation for it, what's next for y'all? What are some of the areas y'all want to address going into the late signing period, and just to, I guess, add more depth and more talent to the roster?
Defensive line would be one. I think pass rushers, as well as run stuffers. And probably flipped, maybe run stuffers and then pass rushers. And then, I think any form of, whether it be a running back or a kind of a skill receiver / running back / H-back guy that we can create mismatch problems with, and or stretch the field, or use to our advantage. I think those spots, I think, are the spots that we're looking for.
Thanks, Coach. I also wanted to ask if you kind of take a look at the overall kind of picture of where the late signing period is this year, as far as it seems like there's more guys who are uncommitted or not signed, and there's also JUCOs that didn't have a season, and just a lot of different factors like that. Do you feel like because of the transfer portal and just because of those various things, it puts a greater emphasis on the late signing period?
It does. That's a good question. It does. I think it's different in years past. And so I think, there's just with a bunch of other things this year, there's been so much uncertainty. And so I feel there's kids that have just kind of held back and just want a little bit more time, really kind of catch their breath, I imagine, after their season and, their second semester on Zoom. And so I feel like there's a fair amount of fights that we're still in regards to that. I think, the JC and the transfer portal piece, I think, is the JC thing's always been there. And I'm a product of junior college football, and so I respect that. The transfer portal, I think, is really here to stay. And so for us to be able to utilize that and bring in really high character people that not only add value to our team as players, but more importantly, add value to our team as people. So we'll definitely be looking to see kind of what becomes of that. But to finish strong in February, whereas in the past, we'd be out on the road and it would really kind of be, that recruiting would be almost ceremonial. It would be really, you're allowed to go out in February and and or in January and February and do visits to high schools, and you're really kind of getting a leg up on the next class. And so I just feel like it's a good question. That is not the case right now.
Thanks, Coach.
Go back over to John Warner. John,
I'm sorry. Yeah, Tate's background, his parents both being shot putters. Does that impress you at all?
Yeah, he's an impressive guy. I told him this morning, every time I talk to him, he's on a tractor, and he's driving the tractor. I don't think he's supposed to be, FaceTiming and driving, but he does. And so, but I think what a great personality he has. What a great enthusiasm. I mean, he gets me fired up seeing him. And, there's a great explosiveness about him. There's, for a guy that's as long, as big as he is, he's got quick twitch. And so, you look at the person and you look at the player, man, there's a lot to like. I'm excited he's with us.
Back over to Matt Roberts.
Yeah, Coach, just curious on your current roster as guys decide to transfer, decide what's best for them. Is there any kind of re-recruiting process that goes along with that? And maybe did your time staying on LSU on staff, going from Les to Edo, kind of shape your thinking in that or give you a little bit more perspective on that?
That's a good question. I think, I think just overall, I think it's really there's really two things. There's the NFL on one side, and then there's just maybe this isn't for me. Maybe there's a better fit out there in that. And so, I can appreciate both of those things. And I think as far as the NFL goes, I think it's a matter of just education. Just what we get back from the NFL is kind of this is a grade, or this is a round that we see, this particular player going, here's the high he could go, here's the low, here's kind of where we think he's going to go, here's what he does well, here's what he can improve. And then we talk about, the varying, the varying myths that are out there in terms of leaving early in that. And then we talk about, the monetary differences from this round being taken to that round. And so I think you start with that, and there's some teeth to that, because I feel like that's real. And we've all unfortunately been around guys that have left early when they shouldn't have, and were not drafted, or we're just not in the spot that they thought they were. So I think education is really big. But I think, on top of that, or more important to me than that, would be just recognizing and seeing them and who they are as a person and what they bring, and just letting them know that you value it, and that their importance to our team, to me, and kind of the vision for what's next and what's coming, and see if they can get on board with that. So I feel like that has happened some on Sunday and Monday particularly. And so I feel good about where it is. We'll see where it goes.
We'll go back over to Jerry Hill.
Dave, Drew Estrada, coming from Dartmouth, but the Texas ties, did that help y'all in terms of maybe having a little more knowledge of him than you would normally an Ivy League guy?
Very much so. And I think, I remember, walking to the recruiting office, and Coach Wetzel comes out, and he's getting off the phone with the coach at Argyle, and they're talking about Drew, and and all the positive things that were coming. And then I know, like, Coach McGuire knows Drew's dad, and so they. Drew's dad has coached before, and so they're talking back and forth. And so I think right away, having those two hooks, I think are good. And then I think, get to know Drew, and just the maturity he has, the strength of character that he has. It comes across right away just when you're talking to him, the questions that he asks, and the the standards that he tells you he lives his life by are immediately believed in just his approach. And then it's validated, right, with all the people that you're talking to about him. And so I think, as a player, his ability to play special teams in the return game, to be on cover and rush units as well. And then, as a receiver, to play outside and inside, right? That flexibility, I think, was really, as a player, the big tell, and not necessarily see him as an inside guy, even though he can definitely do that, but also as an outside guy. And the maturity and like I say, character that he brings just topped it off.
Peterson hands off to Jenkins. Jenkins right up the middle. Breaks free. Midfield 40. Up to the races. Turns around. Breaks the tackle at the 35. Touchdown. You got to be kidding me. Jenkins just shoved McCutcheon aside and took it 25 yards further for pay dirt. How about that?
That's a good friend of mine. Craig knows him. Kenny Smith does the broadcast for Lindale football in East Texas. I've known Kenny for probably 3 decades, and that was one of the highlights of Jordan Jenkins, who stiff-armed McCutcheon, who's an Austin LBJ player, who's also an Oklahoma commit, and it was a special moment in Lindale's comeback. State championship Friday against Argyle at 7, National Signing Day today, and Jordan Jenkins, who's become almost a regular on this show. We've really appreciated the young man and his access, thanks to Chris Cochran as well. National Signing Day, Baylor commit, and now signee. Jordan, what did today mean to you?
It meant a lot to me to officially be a Bear. Going through this whole process, it's been a long thing for me. I was stressed out over it at the start, but now that I've learned to enjoy it, it's been a really good thing. And I'm super excited for what's to come in the future.
Jordan, does this feel like the busiest week of your entire life?
Yes, sir, it does. My phone's blowing up from people all around. I have a lot of family up in Michigan and other states, and everybody congratulate me. And also with the state championship week, it's really crazy right now, but I think I've got a little bit of a handle on it.
It sounds like you do. And Jordan, just the fact that you were able to put pen to paper finally and make it official, and you could see the graphics coming out from Baylor football, and now Dave Aranda and the coaches can actually talk about you by name. Is that a pretty cool feeling that now it's officially official? Did you kind of feel that whenever you put pen to paper?
Yes, sir. I've been waiting for this for a long time now, and for it to be here, I'm just excited. As I said before, I'm ready to be up there and take the next step.
You have put up numbers that are quite frankly crazy, and the number of carries, you've had 35, 50, 40-something carries in the comeback win. I spoke with you on Sunday about your body and treatment. How does it feel today compared to how sore and beat up you were on Sunday?
Oh, it definitely feels a whole lot better. I was really beat up, as you saw. I came off for a bit and had to take a breather, and I told Coach that I'd give him some more plays, and I put my all in it for my team. And I've done a whole lot of treatment this week, and my body's feeling a lot better, whole much better. And I'm pretty sure I'll be 100% Friday.
When you did feel like maybe you had to take a play off, did the entire city of Lindale exhale when you went back in?
Yes, sir. They had told me, like, when you came off, I was so worried, and they're all worried about me. And when I came back on, they all told me they were just relieved that I was okay. And after the game, they were still worried because I was limping pretty bad, and they now told them I'm practicing well and everything's going good, and they're all really excited for what's to come.
Is it possible to have a favorite when you have 50 rushing touchdowns? Is there possible that there's one that sticks out above, the other 49 that you had this year?
My favorite touchdown? Oh man, I don't really know.
Yeah, you got too many.
I don't pay attention that much to touchdowns. I say one of my favorite is the one reception that I got, the one reception touchdown against, I think it was Chapel Hill, the first touchdown. Mm-hmm. It was one play that we had ran quite a bit, but it just hadn't worked for a lot of games, and that one just came off. They misread and didn't cover me, and it was I had to stretch out to get it, and it was a really good throw by Sam, lead me into it, and I caught it and went all the way down. I like that play. So
my sister and her boyfriend, who is a Chapel Hill alum, they went to that game, and afterwards she texted me and she said, yeah, that Jordan Jenkins kid's the real deal. So I just want to let you know that you kind of broke the Chapel Hill alum's heart, but they were very impressed with what they saw that night.
Thank you.
You know, Jordan, it has been a crazy week. You had to do this, the signing day, get that out of the way. What is your status? Because I don't remember. Did you ever say you were going to be an early enrollee, or are you going to wait till the summer? Where are you with that?
Yeah, I was taking the classes to plan on early enrollment, and I did decide it was about 3 months ago, somewhere near the start of school, that I was just going to stick out high school. Mm-hmm. I wanted to just enjoy the experiences that I have here, and they're all unique, and enjoy with people that I might not see for the rest of my life. And I think that was a good decision to make. I still have Allison and track to get some more time better and put some up for some of my teammates.
Well, and hopefully you'll be able to experience a much more normal spring, although we don't know, because no one could have ever expected what we've been through the last months. But maybe you'll get a chance to do some things that seniors get to do, like prom, if that happens, or things like that. So good luck also with that as well. How have practices been? How has practice gone this week as you prepare? I know it's nuts in Lindale, but getting ready for the state championship game against a team like Argyle.
We're all really fired up, and I think we're all really focused in on Argyle. We all know that they're really sound. They're a really good team all over, but we're confident as always, and we believe that we can beat anybody. But it's not going to be easy. We all know that. So we need to put in the work for it, and I believe that we have, with a good game plan ahead. And I've been taking some time out to enjoy this week. Mm-hmm. It's a special week. Not many people get to have this. So I've ended it being my last week of football with my guys. So I've been enjoying it as well as focusing in on Argyle.
So, Jordan, when you sent your letter of intent in today, did you have an opportunity to talk to the coaches? And if so, what was their kind of reaction, just, you making it official and being a part of the team now?
Yes, sir. I got a bit to talk to them this morning, and they were all fired up and congratulated me. And I was glad to see them all together, and all the faces that I haven't seen in a bit. And I'm just really happy and looking forward to seeing them face to face, as we haven't really been able to this year.
You know, one of the things about this group, and coaches are always going to say whoever they sign is a great group, and that's fine, but you guys got a lot of players who fit Baylor. I spoke with Chris Cochran, your head coach at Lindale, about 20 minutes ago, and I asked him, I said, how many people started kind of maybe hammering on your cell phone or trying to get you to change your mind because you got more and more and more attention as this playoff run has continued? And he said, you know what, David, there weren't many at all because everyone understands the fit Jordan Jenkins is with Baylor. What do you think he means by that, and what is the fit with Baylor for you?
Yes, sir. As you said, not really anybody was contacting me, other school-wise. And he exactly what he said. I fit in with Baylor, and I made sure to make that clear. I love the school. I love it. I feel like it's a lot like here in Lindale. I love the vibes that I get to it, always striving to be better versions of themselves on and off the field, and what they stand for. And we pretty sure we base some of our core values and stuff that we talk around here from Baylor stuff, having Coach Cochran's brother being there. Mm-hmm. And I think other schools did realize that. And, of course, I'd love to keep the same relationship that I had with other coaches and that I built up, but nobody was really pressuring me to change my mind, and I like that.
Yeah, because Coach Cochran's brother played at Hallsville, went to Texas. He was on the staff with Matt Rule. Then he went to North Carolina, and didn't he just? Is it Apple? No, where is he? There's another school. Is he still in North Carolina, or did he move with one of the other coaches elsewhere?
I think he did move, but I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, he went with one of the other former Baylor coaches.
Yeah, I think it was like Austin P. or something like that.
Yeah, Austin P. That's exactly who it is. Jordan, what's it like to be you? right now in Lindale, Texas? Do you understand as a running back or a quarterback, you even get more attention because of the numbers? And yeah, the right guard is as important as the defensive tackle or backup linebacker. But what's it like right now with all of the attention, the adulation, and still trying to stay true to who you are?
It's a little hard. I'm not going to lie. I challenge myself all the time to stay humble with it and to give credit anywhere else that I can, because there's a lot of unseen things, like my O-line. Of course, I always want to try to give them credit. They don't get credit that much. They're not seen that much. So anytime I want to give them credit. They do an amazing job for me. And some of my numbers isn't just me being an amazing running back. It's them opening up a great hole for me and doing great stuff. And sometimes I feel I'm not enjoying it as much as well. I do some things like the 9 touchdowns I get Sneedville, and I come back and I'm like, oh, that was a good day at work. And sometimes I just need to enjoy moments like that more. And that's about it.
Go ahead.
Jordan, what were your earliest memories of football? I ask this of guys time to time. What are your earliest memories, and who put a ball in your hand and kind of got your journey started in the game of football?
So my earliest memories, my first season playing football in Pee Wee second grade, we didn't win a single game. We only had 1 touchdown. I had that touchdown. And my dad was kind of a off coach. He wasn't the actual coach of the team, but him playing running back for Lindale as well. He was a coach for me. All still now he coaches me up all the time. And what I remember keenly is how ball security really. My dad, he gave me a ball. He said, "I want you to keep this ball all the time. Switch arms with it. Get used to switching your hands. Sleep with it. And anytime you need to put it down, like if I need to take a shower, brush your teeth, put it down. And once you get done, pick it right back up and tuck it." And I did that for, I think, a month as a kid. I don't know what grade I was in, but I'd say that's one of the clearest things really early on in my football career.
In athletic history at Lindale, Pat Mahomes, Patrick's father, was a star athlete at Lindale High School back in the 80s. This is brand new territory for Lindale High School. You know that. There are some other people around the area. I don't know that you drive through towns, whether it's a Miranda Lambert or Casey Huffgrave, what's her name?
Casey Musgrave.
Casey Musgrave. Or I remember driving through Sealy, Texas on I-10 one time, and I saw a sign that said, "Sealy, Texas, home of Eric Dickerson." I'm not trying to get ahead of myself, but that plant is there for Jordan Jenkins if you continue to do what you do for one more game and then take care of your business in college and perhaps another level after that. Do you understand the impact you've had?
Yes, sir. Every day, and that really keeps me in mind that I have to do even better and keep myself accountable, because I know that a lot of people are looking up to me, and maybe even the town, as you said. So I just need to keep striving to be better versions of myself everywhere in any aspect in life, football and out and out. And I believe that I can do great things as long as I keep working for it. And it won't be easy, but nothing's ever been easy. So nothing great is never easy.
Yeah.
And so I believe I can do it.
So, Jordan, I know you got something right ahead of you here that is far more important than anything else, but I don't know when we'll get a chance to talk to you again. So what have the coaches said, if anything, to you, since you won't be an early enrollee, you'll be coming in the summertime? What have they kind of told you about the next few months, and are they going to send you workouts? Like, what's kind of the idea there, if any?
Actually, there has been they're probably, I'd say in the next couple of weeks, they're probably going to get with me to that. But they've been lenient and laying back more on that aspect. I haven't heard really anything about doing stuff with them as much. Of course, they're dealing with the big COVID stuff right now.
Yeah.
That's been a huge impact for them. So I definitely understand any communication stuff that's happening.
Well, I think they're also probably saying, like, hey, let's let him go win potentially win a state title first and get that done.
Have you ever met Earl Campbell?
No, sir, I haven't.
Would you like to?
you're going to get me nervous here.
I think we can try to make that happen. I think that'll be something. And I know that when you think about the great running backs in East Texas, and you've had an unbelievable year at Lindale. But you know that area, and because Craig and I have been there for a long, long time until we moved to Waco, you've had the schools like Carthage and Gilmer and even Pleasant Grove up near Texarkana, and other schools. Chapel Hill's had their run on occasion. Kilgore's had their run on occasion. And now all of a sudden you are in the middle of that. Gilmer and Carthage play this week, but you're right in the middle of that. It's great. Isn't it great that Lindale's getting this attention?
Oh, yes, sir, definitely. I think teammates in the future and my teammates right now, they can get great recognition from it. And I really hope that they do, because I think they deserve it. They're great players all around, and they work extremely hard. Like Jared Allen, we say he's the heartbeat of the team. He works extremely hard. Nobody plays harder than Jared Allen, and it really sucks that he came with that injury and ended it. But I think a lot more people like him can come through and get more recognition because of what I have done, and I've set the stone for recognition for Lindale.
Yep. Well, you have, and good luck, man. We appreciate it, Craig. Anything else for Jordan, Paul? We appreciate you, the access you've given. We can't wait to see you when you get to Waco sometime during the summer and start covering you when you're a Baylor Bear. Good luck Friday night against Argyle, and you have represented yourself in the community and the program incredibly well. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
That's Jordan Jenkins. Boy, he kind of gets it, huh? Mm-hmm. It's more than just a football player. And he even admits it. Hey, I got to kind of check myself every once in a while. I got to kind of keep myself humble, because he's one of those at a city. Now, Argyle's very good. We don't know what's going to happen Friday night. Argyle's a favorite. But when you have these guys that come from cities, these running backs, and they're like, you remember Sealy because of Eric Dickerson, not even just the 4 straight titles they had in the 90s. And certain cities, Hooks, Billy Sims, Tyler Earl Campbell,
Adrian Peterson,
Palestine.
Until I met you guys, I only knew Tyler for Earl Campbell, really. Yeah, and then that they had roses. I mean, that was it. Yeah. So those are the things that I knew about it. And the good news though for Jordan is he's already a kid who knows he has to be humble. Mm-hmm. But your first practice as a Division I running back, no matter how good you are, is often quite humbling.
Oh yeah, and I'm sure it will be. But man, it's going to be a good little group of running backs. With a Squirrel. It's just so dadgum unfortunate, man, that he's probably going to miss the first half of next year, you would think, at the very minimum, because of the ACL surgery and given the timing of when he got hurt. And golly, that sucks. I mean, there's no other way to put it. That sucks. But outside of Squirrel, I mean, you saw a little bit out of Jonah White last week. I mean, just a little bit of what he can do. Now, you have to see a lot more, obviously, but Tay McWilliams, we got to see a little bit of him. And Quaylon Jones, we got to see a good chunk of him. And there's others, and now you add a guy like Jordan Jenkins into the mix as well. And I'll say too, I know not the entire offensive staff's from LSU or anything like that, but I know they know good running backs. That was one thing that LSU always had. It's one thing Larry Fedora's typically had. So I feel pretty confident about the running back position moving forward, and they addressed the receiver position, and so now there's depth there. They address quarterback. There's depth there, and now an open competition in the spring, and just got to get that O-line squared away.
I spoke and had lunch today with a former Baylor offensive lineman, and he told me that the lack of, again, he said at times it looked like they didn't know what they were doing, and he couldn't imagine trying to learn and mesh together through Zoom meetings rather than practice and reps. But he said he did like the fact that he saw some guys that were men. Now they got to get in the weight room as Aranda's stressed and much more. That's another story. We'll see what happens. And then hopefully their spring drills will be normal. We get to cover it. We got to take a break here.
Well, I wanted to make mention, I did see a news report earlier, and I didn't get to really scope it out too much, but apparently the FDA might have found some more doses of the vaccine that they didn't realize they had. Now, I don't know to what extent, but apparently there might be a few more thousand that are out there that came packaged that they weren't even aware of. So, get this vaccine out there and
hopefully
kick in.
It works.
Yeah, and hopefully it works.
And there'll be a third or fourth one from other companies as we go on down the line. So in the next 6 months, we should have a pretty good handle.
Don't take it for granted that there will be spring drills, though.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of work to be done, but boy, do you need it. No question about it. This is SicEm365 Radio. We'll wrap it up in a moment.
With more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like First Free Checking, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Did you know that 1 out of every 4 men have symptomatic low levels of testosterone and don't even know it? And if you think you're too young to worry about it, guess again. Low T levels can make you feel tired and grumpy, cause weight gain, and wreak havoc on your sexual desire and performance. Petty Clinic Low T can set up same-day blood screening and results, so if you're tired of being tired, I challenge you to man up and Google search Low T Waco or go online pettycliniclowt.com. It's a private clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Affordable, only $150 a month, includes lab work, office consultation, testosterone injections, follow-up visits compared to $395 a month in Dallas or Austin, and you don't have to fight the traffic. Petty Clinic Low T is board-certified physician consultations, will provide the best form of brand-strength testosterone available. Contact Petty Clinic Low T today, just off Highway 84 and Old Hewitt Drive in Woodway. Petty Clinic Low T, helping men become the high-performance men they deserve to be. PettyClinicLowT.com or Google search Low T Waco.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. And this football season, you need to stop by on game day for curbside pickup or stop by their tent next to SicEm365 at Brazos Parking for your pregame refreshment. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
After my first car accident, I feared the biggest damage would be to my wallet. I expected a mountain of bills and a long, drawn-out process. But my Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent was there when I needed her and helped me get back on my feet and in my car in no time. Instead of a hassle, I got reassurance and a quick recovery.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
The Sic'em365 Radio app is sponsored by Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Your friend in the car business at Loop 340 and east of 84. Come by. Let's be friends.
Former Baylor linebacker Blake Lynch activated by the Minnesota Vikings, a part of their roster now, so good for Blake Lynch. Of course, James Lynch is a part of that same team, not related. Thanks to Kyron Drones, Devin Lemire, Kavion Gaither, Demarion Alexander, Jackie Marshall, King McClure, Mac Rhodes, Kevin Hoffman, Dave Aranda, and Jordan Jenkins. And that's just for this show. That does not include the other several interviews that were a part of the National Signing Day show this morning, bright and early at 7 o'clock. I turned that on. I thought we might see some zombieism. Is that a word, by the way? It
is now.
And by the way, it was flawless. It was great. Jack Armstrong, both of you this morning, Grayson and Craig this morning, Brian Etheridge, to work with Brian and Ashley and Colt, work for them. It's just amazing. I don't know how much time we have here, but I was looking at the possibilities of what we're going to go cover in January, February. The Super Bowl is in Tampa. And as I was doing that, I was going over some old files of when we used to go places and some old emails that I used to get that were always, you cannot. And all Brian and Ashley have ever done is, how can we get it done? I mean, I'm serious. What it's like to work for them is fantastic. Also, thanks as well to Paul and Craig. Of course, Craig's been here since 7. Paul throughout. Ashley, Drake, and JD. We have no more post-game shows, but the basketball, once the season does get going again, we'll have some more of those men's basketball post-game shows with Ashley as well. Anything else, guys? Oh, Royce Berger. I got an email from Mike Anderson, who runs the Texas High School Football Hall of Fame. Sent out an email. He said, we lost a dear friend, fellow board member, Royce Berger, longtime loyal member of the Texas High School Football Hall of Fame, part of First National Bank of Central Texas. He will be truly missed. He loved six-man football and the history of six-man football in Texas. And speaking of that, Sterling City 68 and May 22. That's a final tonight at 7. Mart will play their game for the state championship against Windthorst. Anything else?
No. Good to see that Baylor got all their signees in and even had the surprise in Drew Estrada. So that wide receiver room looks massively different heading into next season. And I know there's still, decisions and things that could occur over the next few weeks. And so we'll see how, eventually this roster settles down. And we know also that they're going to keep pursuing guys. There's another signing day. Like, this isn't it. There's another one coming up in February, and they have some open spots, especially now with, Brewer and Lovett opening up a couple more. Yusuf Terry a few weeks back opened up another one. So I know they'll be hot and heavy on trying to fill some what they view as, bigger holes with potentially some transfers, some grad transfer types. So that'll be, kind of this next phase, as well as just recruiting, more high school guys, for this second signing day as well, potentially. So that's going to be the next stage. We'll have all that covered, Grayson especially over on the premium side of SicEm365.com. But thanks to Jack and Armstrong and also Grayson and Brian, because we went 3 hours and like 15 minutes or something this morning, and it didn't feel like it was that long. We kind of just ripped through it, and I thought it went really well. So appreciate everybody who tuned into that.
Yeah, and that list you just saw that was created as well does not include Drew Estrada, the surprise transfer.
Thanks to Colt as well for the graphics work. Yeah. It was a full team effort for sure. Yeah,
and by the way, thanks to Leon, who said, hey, I love listening to this coach. He was talking about Dave Aranda, Matt in D.C., Joe, TJ, the 979, Daniel, the 254, Scotty, many of you who are part of the text line today. We appreciate your feedback as well. For everyone we've mentioned, and for the 5 of us here to close it out on National Signing Day, thanks to, again, Jack and Armstrong, Paul and Craig, I'm David Smoak. Thank you for listening and watching. Whenever you do, however long it might be, we mentioned the Lady Bears rolled again. And that was something we expected, but they got it done as they always seem to do.
And now Jaden Owens will be available to play the next game with the new NCAA ruling.
Yep. And thanks to Mac Rhodes for the time, despite what he's been through. Man, the sledgehammer of one thing after another. Good night on SicEm365 Radio.
Learning to navigate life in the COVID-19 world has been a struggle, and where and how to get tested has been one of the biggest challenges. Impact Health Labs has your answer. If you need mass testing for your office, church, dormitory, or school, Impact Health Labs is who to call. They will come to you, conduct the testing at your location, and have the test back within 24 hours. Most major insurance accepted, meaning your out-of-pocket cost is low. So no more waiting by the phone for days to find out the results. Impact Health Labs was founded by 3 Army radiologists. They believe in accuracy, efficiency, and doing the job right. Call 254-744-6233 to set up your group screening today. Impact Health Labs, on-site, prompt, and accurate, taking COVID-19 head-on. Again, that number is 254-744-6233.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has been proudly serving Texans across the state for over 60 years. Call 254-772-8090 to find an agent who will provide a free review of your auto, home, and life coverage.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma, and they have to come here. They're used to lights, they're used to water in their mouth, they're used to experience, they already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.